For their fifth consecutive win. They're getting a good round of applause from their own booster club, who have traveled all the way from Charlestown to be.
Need more energy throughout the day? Looking for a kick to your workout? RockinThatIDLife.com has you covered with delicious flavors you've grown to love in tropical fruit and mixed berry, but now fall in love with the new fruit punch and orange flavors. Try them all at RockinThatIDLife.com.
Realtor Mike Burgoyne with Real Brokerage LLC makes the moving process easier. Work with a realtor who plays and studies the game and will work as hard as the boys on the ice to get you the best deal. Check out Mike on the web at strikewithmike.com and jumpstart your move today. That's strikewithmike.com.
Welcome to episode 10 of season 12. This is episode number 419 all time of the often imitated, never duplicated, nobody makes me bleed my own blood. We're the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast. Let's go Blues Radio. Special thanks to our sponsors, RockinThatIDLife.com, StrikeWithMike.com, and CenterIceBrewery.com for proudly sponsoring the show. Please check them out. Also, don't forget to check out our t-shirt shop at letsgoblues.com for some well-designed and fairly priced Blues-themed t-shirts. It's Thursday, June 29th. We're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. To interact with the show on social media, our handle on all social channels is LGB Radio. Just search for us and you'll find us. And if you haven't already done so, please like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, buy a t-shirt from our shop, buy a time slot on public access television, and recap each Let's Go Blues Radio episode, or do whatever you can do to help us out. I'm your host, Jeff Ponder, and I'm joined by the always on display, on your screen he will stay, the sunshine of your day, Bill Day, as well as the never nice, don't tell him twice, almost as cool as Jerry Rice, Kurt Price. Producer Austin is on assignment. I'm thinking about becoming like a fight promoter, so that's why I had to go with the rhyming tonight, boys.
I like it.
All right.
Better than Austin's Chat GPT stuff, I think.
Yes, 100%. The agenda for tonight's show includes discussion about everything going on with the St. Louis Blues, including trades, non-trades, draft picks, returning players to the organization, all that and more on this pish-posh, mishmash episode of Let's Go Blues Radio. We are live, as I said tonight. We are welcomed to have Mr. Bill Day and Mr. Kurt Price. Good to have you guys back tonight as we talk some very real St. Louis Blues hockey tonight.
You're welcomed.
Happy to be here. Hope I can help the team.
I just had to flip you guys. I had to put Kurt first because I know that's how Kurt likes it. He gets upset if he's on the bottom.
That's not true. Let's work on the bottom.
So you're saying if you're on the bottom, you're the power bottom?
No, I'm saying I'm lazy.
Okay. Well, I'm a power bottom.
It takes a special skill to do all the work on the bottom.
It really does. It really does. I don't have it. I'm totally messing around. Looks like we got some good St. Louis City stuff going here. First of all, Bill, you got your nice banner up. I'll show my beer of the episode here in a minute, but if you can see that nice little laser engraved City SC mug that I got from Soulard Farmers Market. So City won a game. That was nice.
Yeah. Scored some goals.
Yeah.
It was well, scored 2 goals, right? It was 2-1.
That
right?
counts as some,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I'm trying to open up this. I've been looking for a bottle opener for the past 5 minutes, and I could not find one. And I opened a bottle with a pair of staple remover.
Nice. Well, here,
Nicely
take
done.
mine.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, mine's also a flashlight.
Oh, thanks.
Mm.
Do you have a pen that is also a clock?
You turn it around, it's also a clock.
I'm sorry.
Great reference. So going into the show, we do have a couple announcements. First of all, I do want to announce that I will be co-hosting the Puck Podcast with Eddie Garcia next week. We are scheduled to do it next Thursday, but there's a good chance that we might move that up if there's a lot of crazy free agency this weekend. So if you are a fan of me and Hockey Talk and the Puck Podcast. Boy, do you have a week coming for you next week.
How many people fit inside that portion of the Venn diagram? Fans of you, hockey, and the Puck Podcast. There's got to be three or four people at least, right?
I was going to say, it's probably me and Eddie Garcia. They were the only two people.
Well, it's good to know you started liking yourself again.
I did. Yeah. Very deserving. I know I saw we've got some chatter on the YouTube. When I looked at YouTube, but on our platform, I'm not seeing it pop up.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure what the deal is there.
Broke it.
Yeah. Austin probably broke it, right? That's my guess.
It is streaming to the YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, I looked. It was, and I saw. I think it was Matt Harris had a comment as the show was going live, but I turned that off so I could not be bothered by YouTube. But you tell me, Kurt. Looks like you're looking right now.
I am looking, and pull it up. And yeah, you're correct. There is a discussion in the chat, but not in our platform here.
Okay, and we are showing us live on there, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Sorry. Yes, we are.
Okay, well, sorry, folks. I guess we could keep that up and just kind of, like we used to, show the just mention what people are saying in the chat. But
we just leave it like this.
We'll be able to show it. Yeah, that doesn't do anything.
I know, but if we leave it like that, they would pop up automatically. We should try that sometime. Yeah. New comments.
People start commenting. Leave it on for a minute.
No.
Let's see if that works.
No, I mean, if they were showing up here, then they would show up here automatically.
Okay.
The chat overlay.
Well, yeah,
toggle.
we've never done that before.
No, we don't trust people.
No, we don't.
to behave themselves.
That's true. We do not.
Well, it's not really that much of a kid-friendly show, but
not really, not at all. Although I do know of children that listen to this. One of my favorite stories. I don't know if I've told it on here or not, but listener Leon, years ago, his kids, I think he's 14 or 15 now. Years ago, he was listening to the show in the car, and I guess I was going off on some rant. Surprise, surprise. And I dropped the F-bomb a couple times. And I guess his son says out loud, he just goes, "God, Ponder, watch your mouth."
Language.
Yep, language. Do also want to mention at the top of the show, for those of you that can see. Oh, hey, I'm seeing YouTube chats now.
Oh, yep.
At least one. So that's good.
Yeah.
Well, that's not going to.
Well, it says new comments will display here, so we'll see if they pop up.
All right, now people start commenting. Let's see. Let's see if we'll see those pop up there. But yeah, we got one here from the Meeker. He says, "Hi guys, hope everyone is well and having a great summer." We are, as far as I know. But I do want to get at the top of the show mention here. I am wearing my Minnesota Whitecaps Christmas jersey because I love this thing. If you watch the episode we had Amanda Levier on recently, we talked about how awesome this jersey is. So I'm glad I bought it last year because unfortunate news for fans of the PHF, but I think good news for fans of women's hockey. PHF is no more. It was officially a buyout by the PWHA, which is the Professional Women's Hockey Association. So that is the top tier of women's hockey. That is the Hillary Knights, the Spooners, the Kessels. I believe they're all part of that. So it's unfortunate that teams like the Whitecaps may no longer exist. We may not have the PHF anymore, but again, good news for women's hockey. And I think overall, this is a good step towards, hey, there we go. See in the chat now. But yeah, good step towards making a unified front for women's hockey.
Although our logo covers it. So there's that.
We could always turn the logo off.
Yep.
More of that girl says family friendly or not safe for work content. I can manage either.
There.
Who knows? All right. Official beers of the episode. And well, let me close my last thought. Lev, if you're listening, we love you. Can't wait to see what you do next. Again, I've said it before, my favorite guest we've ever had on the show, and that's saying a lot. So Can't wait to see what you do next, Lev. Here's to you and your teammates. So beers of the episode tonight of number 419. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. Kurt's C Price 12. Jeff, me, is J Bonner 94. And Bill is at Billy Blue Note 33. Why don't we start with Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo? Let's start with Kurt.
See that? I'm drinking a terrible beer.
That is a terrible
O'Fallon gummies.
O'Fallon gummy beer. The strawberry lemonade flavor, and it is not good. And it was in my fridge. I brought down some pretzel wheat that Amy left here, who was in the chat, and was probably like, well, he's drinking my beer, but yeah, and I decided for some reason to open this one instead to kind of get rid of it, and it's more of a summery beer than the pretzel wheat, and yeah, if anybody else doesn't Winning Unlimited like
Yes,
the gummy beer?
I think he was the one that originally told both you and I to try it, and we both hated it.
I don't like
Bill,
it.
have you had it, Bill?
I've not.
You don't need to.
I will probably, next time I'm at Kurt's, there'll probably be one left, and I'll grab it.
It is. I mean, this is the color too. It's like kind of pink,
right?
Well, pinkish red.
Yeah, very, very fruity-ish.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of the lemon summer beers, but this is not very good. Sorry, O'Fallon.
Yeah,
I like a lot of other stuff, just not this one.
Yeah, and not to belabor, right? This is supposed to be a short segment, and we're already like 10 minutes over. But did you guys see that O'Fallon had to file bankruptcy?
Mm-hmm.
But no, I did not see that.
They are not. They are going through like a bankruptcy, but they are not ceasing operation. The last I heard. So, not that I've stayed up with it, but yeah, that's
sad to hear. I love O'Fallon.
Yeah. Great local, one of the great local ones. So,
and Mr. Bill Day, what are you drinking tonight?
So, I have beer with ice in it. You hear,
what?
I think I need to take away your beer card, sir.
I know people that drink wine with ice in it, and I make fun of them.
Yeah, no, it's a cocktail. It's a gin radler cocktail. Urban chestnut tangerine radler with some Hendrick's gin in it.
I almost picked that up the other day. So do you recommend? Is it good?
Yeah. I think I like the Big Shark stuff better as radlers go. But this is really good. Throw in some gin. Like I used to absolutely be, just disgusted by the thought of gin, but it is actually a good staple for summer cocktails. So
I tell you what, I used to hate gin as well. The only time I drink gin was gin and tonic. As I've gotten older, I've become a little bit more of a gin man. Still like whiskey. Whiskey's good, but I've fallen off the vodka wagon. Just, I don't know. It just doesn't add much flavor to me for anything these days. It used to be my go-to when I was a kid. I say kid, 21, 22. Can't drink tequila. Just makes me do crazy things. Never drink tequila ever, unless it's in a margarita. But gin, I don't know. I've become friends with gin the last couple of years.
Yeah. Yep. It's definitely grown on me. Another really good one. The Aviator cocktail.
Yes.
Or is it called or is that? I've always screwed up because Ryan Reynolds went and made gin and called it
Aviation.
Aviation. Yeah. So it's the Aviator cocktail.
Yeah.
With the the purple the lilac, the lavender liqueur. Really good. Love it.
Yeah, good stuff. So speaking of good stuff, I am drinking one of my favorite summer go-tos, the Schlafly Summer Lager, which is just, that's just delightful. That can. We talk about the can art. This is very simple, but just so delightful, and it just fits the taste of the beer, if that makes sense. And of course, as I said, I've got 2 of these bad boys in here in my giant 32 ounce. I mean, look at, I got a huge head. Look at how that compares to my head. That still looks pretty big. So, love it. Soulard Farmers Market. Great pickup. Let's see, folks. I guess we can get into it. So, we've got a lot to cover tonight, guys. There's a lot going on. Blues trades, as I said, Blues draft picks, other news around the organization. But let's lead off talking about something that I mentioned in last week's show, but even said, I don't know if you guys heard it, I wanted to wait to talk about it because I wanted you guys to be able to comment on this because I know this was a big deal for all 3 of us. Ken Hitchcock and Pierre Turgeon have joined the Hockey Hall of Fame induction class for 2023. So they also join, as I said last week, Henrik Lundqvist, Pierre Lacroix, Caroline Ouellette, and Mike Vernon will be officially. I did not put Tom Barrasso in there, but Tom Barrasso is also part of that class.
Blues legend. Tom
Yes,
Barrasso.
exactly. I haven't had that in here. Finished his career with the Blues, won back-to-back cups with Pittsburgh and all that, but who cares about that? He was a Blues legend, guys.
You said
That's
Turgeon's.
what we all remember.
You said Turgeon's name wrong.
Pierre Turgeon.
It's Pierre Turgeon.
Yeah. You have to
there's
say
a
it like a dying goose.
Yeah.
There's I can't remember the game. It's over there. I could go get it, but I'm not going to. There's an old PS1 game. It was called it was their answered NBA Jam. It was called NHL Face Off, maybe?
NHL Hits.
No, it wasn't NHL
It
Hits.
wasn't
It was
Hits?
2 on. That's not the one I'm thinking of. There was
Yeah.
one they released. It was not a big release. It didn't even have the team buy-in. It just had the team colors and the player names. So
Yeah.
you couldn't even it didn't have the logos or anything. I think it was called NHL Drop-In, NHL Face Off, something like that, where it was 2 on 2. It was NBA Jam style. And
NHL
it was
Blitz,
right.
Or was that football?
No, that was NFL Blitz.
That was football. Yeah.
I don't know. If
I'll
NHL
grab it
went
at break. It's sitting right over there. But anyway, it was the 3 Blues you could choose from. It was Hull, Turgeon, and Kravchuk. And which I don't know why it was Igor Kravchuk, but okay. The way the announcer said Turgeon, he would say Toyja.
Oh.
And every time he'd score, he would go, "Goal, St. Louis, Toyja." And I'm like, that's not even close. What the hell is that?
Must have thought it was Cajun.
Yes. So Turgeon played with the Blues for parts of 5 seasons, scored 355 points in 327 games with the Blues. So how about that? He was over a point a game for the St. Louis Blues, which I actually did not even realize. He's 16th in points in the Blues franchise. Career 1,294 games across 19 seasons, recorded 515 goals and 812 assists for 1,327 points. His career points rank 34th in NHL history. I know we have all talked about it on this show. Why is he not in the Hall of Fame? Boise finally made it. I think this is a nice win for Pierre Turgeon. I think it's something. I think he's been eligible since 2010. I'm shocked it took so long for him to get in.
It was weird to see some pushback on Turgeon getting in. Like some folks didn't think he deserved it. Like some folks, oh well, this is becoming the Hall of the Very Good. You know how that's always said. But I don't get it at all. I mean, he's got the numbers, and I mean he doesn't have the cup, right? But
Right.
People point out that saying that, well, he never won a cup, he never won, and I was like, well, you know, I've never thought it was fair to tie a team achievement to a personal accomplishment like the Hall of Fame, because it's not Turgeon's fault that he was never a part of a team that could get it done. You know, I mean, short of being a goalie that you put on your back, to put the team on your back and just carry them through a couple of rounds to win a cup or something. I mean, where that's possible with a goalie, it's so much more almost impossible for an individual player to do that. But I don't think it matters to me whatsoever if someone has won a cup for them to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he was prolific everywhere he played.
Yeah.
Right. Buffalo. Right. I mean, you can make a case for him for most of the teams he played for, to be, one of their all-time greats, right? The summer series, right? Where I'm sure he got a lot of traction with us, right? So you're right, Kurt. Not having the cup shouldn't be enough of a detractor from keeping him from going to the Hall of Fame. So
Yeah. I mean, it's not.
So my thoughts on that, and I agree for the most part. But we actually I think we had this discussion about Kachuk recently, where I don't think it should be something that should keep a player from getting in. I agree with that sense, but I will say I do use it the other way. When I'm like, a player is teetering, is he a Hall of Famer? Is he not? That is one thing that I'll say, okay, a Stanley Cup that might push him over into the yes, he's a Hall of Famer. And I'm okay with that, because that to me is like, that's just one more factor that gets that person in. But I will agree that, and maybe it's unfair to say that I don't think you can use that as a basis. Well, he didn't win a cup, so he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. I don't think that's fair.
I agree with that. Case by case basis, right? That's a good example to use for not just looking at guys' numbers necessarily, to actually have watched them play. And if a guy does really significantly, contribute to helping a team win multiple cups, and he's a huge factor in that. Yeah, I get it. I mean, that's fair. But now Pat Maroon winning a few cups. Yeah.
Yeah, could you imagine that case? Pat Maroon should be in the Hall of Fame because he's won 3 cups.
Yeah. See, well, yeah. If you're gonna say that about Turgeon, where he shouldn't get in because he hasn't won a cup, well, Maroon's won 3, and
Yep.
I mean, does he get in? Well, no, he wouldn't. No, not Maroon. Oh, why not? He's won 3 cups. That's more than most players ever win.
Mm-hmm.
Very few have won 3 cups. So, whatever.
Yeah.
Either way, I've said it before. Pierre Turgeon to me, and I had somebody call me out a little bit on this, that I said on Twitter that he's almost a forgotten Blues legend, and I actually believe that. That wasn't just me trying to get likes or retweets or whatever. Like, I think a lot of people remember, like, they say, like, oh yeah, Blues greats, and maybe his name comes up in the top 10 or 15 players they list, but his time here, he was fucking prolific.
Yeah.
Scott Young doesn't score 40 goals without that man.
Oh hell no.
I don't know if Scott Young. I love Scott Young. Don't get me wrong. I own his jersey. I don't know if Scott Young gets 30 goals without Pierre Turgeon. I don't know if Scott Pellerin puts up the points he put up. I don't think Dallas Drake is as much of an impact in the time he was here with Turgeon. Like, there's so many factors that lead to Pierre Turgeon is one of those players that made his line mates better. And I loved watching him play.
Would anybody know the name Ricard Pearson without Pierre Turgeon?
Here's a good example of how good Turgeon was before the Blues and with the Blues. My cousin, Bill's friend, he does not like the Blues. He hates the Blues. When the Blues acquired Turgeon, he didn't tell me this at the time, but after Turgeon left the Blues, he said, when Turgeon came to St. Louis, I was pissed. I was not happy because, I was like, oh, that's going to be the guy that puts them over the top and helps them get a cup, because he didn't want to. He wasn't a Blues fan. So, so that he had the utmost respect for Turgeon, and he was mad that the Blues got him. So that kind of
after he failed the Montreal specifically, right. So failed to win a cup at Montreal,
right? Yeah,
right.
Right, but as hard as it is to win in Montreal, as far as the pressure goes, I don't know if that's even fair. How were his Montreal teams, Turgeon's? How good were they?
Well,
pretty mediocre, right?
No, they were. No Canadian teams won since '93, and he got there the following year,
I think,
or
so.
2 years later, and he was Montreal could never recover from the Patrick Roy fiasco, right? And that's that you can argue that Canada hasn't recovered since
I was
nobody's
just
won
gonna say that.
Stanley Cup in all that time, and yeah, so
Canada has. So, are you saying there's a Patrick Waugh curse on Canada?
yes, yes,
You can't say you can't say
all
it's a
Ron
Gretzky curse
Corey's
because
fault.
Edmonton won it without him.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
And Montreal beat him for the last one, so
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Also, Ken Hitchcock. I want to ask Bill about this first. He is number 2 in franchise games, 413, and wins 248. Head coach of the Blues for 6 seasons in his career, almost too shy of 1,600 games across 23 years. He had his lone Stanley Cup win in 1999. Let me ask you guys this. We talk about Stanley Cups for players. Does Stanley Cups matters for coaches?
yes.
Yeah, it matters, sure. I mean, does 0 cups mean you don't get in?
Is it a
That's
bigger
tough.
importance for coaches than it is for players? Let's ask that.
I'd say yeah.
I think so too.
Because as a player, your job is to go on the ice and produce, and hopefully help the team win. As a coach, your job is to win, right?
Yeah,
so,
true.
I mean, it doesn't matter how. It doesn't matter, just win.
Yeah.
So, I think it's been a mixed bag with us and Hitchcock. When he was here, I know he caught a lot of flack. I think I was less harsh on him than maybe you guys were. I know Bill was not a fan.
That's why I wanted to ask Bill first. Yeah. So, I mean, Bill, I think you can appreciate his accomplishments, but I know as a Blues coach, you were probably tired of him before a lot of people were.
Yeah, sorry, a little family drama going on here, so having to jump on and off of mute. But my favorite thing about Ken Hitchcock is the jokes that Shoresy has promulgated with the character Ken Hitchcock or 10-inch cock, whatever. But I never thought that the entire time he was here. Jared Kiso, right? To point out the obvious that we missed for way too long. I mean the man had a long coaching career, WHL before coming to the NHL. He was a brilliant coach. That made his way to the NHL and stuck around forever. And his opinion's still very, very highly valued. I knew he was never going to get us over the hump, and thought we stuck with him way too long here. That's my gripe with him. But you can't argue with a guy who can go 20 years in a league, especially a late bloomer, right? He was probably in his 50s when he got to the NHL as a coach, and not.
I want to say 46, because I remember a story coming out
62.
about that. Yeah, let's see if I can find out here.
Yeah, but he had a lot of longevity that I would have never predicted.
He was only our head coach for 4 full seasons and parts of 2 others. When he replaced David Payne, and then he was coach for 4 seasons. Then the season where Yo was replaced him. So, records. Let's see. After taking over Payne, 43, 15, 11. Then his next season was 29, 17, and 2. And then 52, 23, and 7. Then 51, 24, and 7. Then 49, 24, and 9. And then the last portion, 24, 21, and 5. So,
yeah.
I mean, regular season success, he was great.
Right.
But yeah, the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah. The quote that'll always stick with me, that was his after we got eliminated in the first round. He's like, I'm going to need a couple weeks to figure out what happened. And, it's like, that's why you don't win now, because it takes you a couple weeks to figure out what happened. So
Yep, I agree.
But,
He was 45 when he started coaching, by the way.
in the NHL.
In the NHL, yeah, he was an assistant for the Flyers. Then he went to like Kalamazoo or something, and then he came to the Stars at the age of 45, which is a little later than a lot of coaches start.
So Berube, okay, so took over for Yo, right? And now he's been the coach for 4 full seasons. And so if his track tenure follows the same path as Hitchcock, he'll be fired partway into the season.
Right.
And that could happen.
It could. I mean, could, if the team sucks. I mean, if it's not doesn't meet expectations, you never know, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's not front run later content. And speaking of later content, we should probably start getting there.
Yeah.
There you go. Look at this guy, the Segway King, Mr. Bill Day. Well,
it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
I was 2 minutes off, but
I see that.
I had to get it in. As I said, there is a lot to talk about here with the Blues. We'll talk about the Torey Krug fiasco, the Kevin Hayes trade, and plenty of other things on the other side of this break from our amazing sponsors. You are listening to Bill Day, Kurt Price, and Jeff Ponder on Let's Go Blues Radio.
We'll return after these messages.
Every beer league hockey night, I grab my hockey bag and sticks and throw them in the trunk of my car. And the very next thing I do, I mix up a boost of energy courtesy of RockinThatIDLife.com. It's formulated to break up its delivery in 3 ways, which helps me get through all 3 periods of hockey. Phase 1 provides a rapid onset of energy, concentration, alertness, and motivation. By period 2, I'm receiving a dose of sustained energy, increased focus, metabolism, cognitive function, performance, and feelings of well-being, which I need with the way I play. In Phase 3, I'm getting fatigue protection without jitters and crash, an elevated mood, and a reduction of fluid retention to help me make the big play when it counts. This same triphasic approach helps me when I drink it during work hours or simply just for a pick-me-up when I need it. Try one of the 4 energy flavors by visiting RockinThatIDLife.com, but make sure to email Dustin at RockinThatIDLife@gmail.com and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you to receive an additional 10% off your order. That's RockinThatIDLife.com.
Center Ice Brewery is a beer lover's dream for hockey fans. Based in St. Louis, Missouri, owner Steve Albers has been brewing hockey-themed favorites for thirsty sports fans since 2017. From the Beauty IPA to the Old Arena Lager, a cold, frosty, hockey-themed beer is just what the doctor ordered for hockey fans in St. Louis. Make sure to check your local beer store for Center Ice Brewery beer today. LGB. Let's go beer.
During the magical 2019 playoff run, I was in the midst of buying my current home. Every time I spoke with my realtor, obviously, home buying was the discussion. But in the back of my mind, I couldn't stop thinking about what was destined to happen for our St. Louis hockey team. If only there were a realtor who could have walked me through the process, held my hand when needed, but was there to be a sounding board when I wanted to complain about a certain hand pass goal. Let realtor Mike Burgoyne with Real Brokerage be that for you. He'll have your needs top of mind as he skates you through the home buying or selling process, dangling you past any obstacles and assisting on all your home goals. Check out strikewithmike.com for more information or give him a call directly at 314-753-4060. That's Mike Burgoyne with Real Brokerage at strikewithmike.com, and that number again is 314-753-4060. Don't forget to tell Mike that Let's Go Blues Radio sent you.
And now, back to Let's Go Blues Radio, the longest running St. Louis Blues podcast with Price, Ponder, and Day.
During break, Stephen Ground, who's been on the show a lot this summer, messaged me and asked if I would help him co-host 2 Guys, 1 Cup next week. And I got to tell you, I'm in high demand here, boys. You guys won Cup podcast. I mean, people like me. I don't get it.
Yeah. Who made number 2 on Dan Riley's list? I mean, that'd be me.
I saw that. How about that? Woo.
That was funny.
I'll admit, I have taken a major step back in social media. I don't want to get on my soapbox here, but I am just so tired, and we saw it a lot this weekend with the draft. I am so tired of people speaking so matter of fact with their opinions. We'll talk about the draft here in a minute, but a great example was after the I'm drawing a blank on who the 2 teams were. I want to say one of them was Arizona, but 2 teams that picked ahead of the Blues picked 2 defensemen that we talked about many times on this show. And every draft person I spoke with was like, Blues should not take a defenseman. There shouldn't be a defenseman taken in the top 10. Maybe 1. There was 2. And people were commenting on Rutherford saying Blues figuring out what to do with their upcoming pick. And somebody commented and said, they need a defenseman. If they don't take a defenseman, they're stupid. And I'm just like, no, this kid is not playing next year. You don't know where they're going to be in 2 to 3 years when this kid's ready. Like,
is there a
don't
Drew
speak
Doughty
like
right
you.
now? No, there's not.
Yeah, like don't speak. Even Drew Doughty, did he come right into the NHL?
Yeah, first year he did.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, he did. Okay. Well,
You're muted. You're muted, Bill.
You're more likely to have a Zach Bogosian than a Drew Doughty, right?
Right.
Like
and they were in the same draft, right? But
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
was Petro, and so was Tyler Myers, and there's another one in there. But yeah,
Yeah,
that draft
or-
it was Stamkos, Doughty, Bogosian, Petro.
I
Right.
like how our current need on the active roster for the Blues, people think, in the second round or whatever, even the first round, that we should be drafting to fill that need at pick number 25 or whatever.
Right.
And it's like that pick might be here in a couple of 2-3 years, right? So, and that may not be. You're drafting for organizational depth a lot of times too. Like,
Yep.
gosh, we are really thin in the AHL at whatever, at defense or whatever, and so we need to draft to fill that maybe. But don't draft it. Don't draft to fill a spot on the active roster, because that's weird, because that's not going to happen for a few years. It won't be here for a few years.
I remember when Marek Schwartz, which is an example of if a team needed a goalie at that time, if they were like, oh, with our number 4 pick, we need a goalie, let's pick Marek Schwartz because he's supposed to be in the top 5. He ended up dropping to the Blues, whatever year that was. That was like 14, I think they picked, or whatever number it was. And I remember the announcers even saying in that draft, he fell in the Blues' lap. He was the best available. They don't need a goalie right now. Like, this is a trade pick. This is a pick. They picked the guy because he's the best available. In 2 years, they can probably move him and get something good.
You can move him whenever, and that's the thing that Armstrong has talked about. He's talked about, you acquire assets, and a lot of times you pick the best available, even if you don't have a need for that position in your organization. Now you have an overflow maybe, and you can deal it to then fill a need elsewhere. All of your assets, whether they be picks or drafted players, they're tradable, and you can then acquire pieces you need by moving those. The Blues have done that a lot. I don't understand. People, the Blues will draft somebody they don't think that we need on the at the pro level, and they'll get upset. I'm like, but we might need him in the AHL, and in a few years we might need him up here. It's just so silly to get so worked up over the position that we draft, or the handedness that they are.
Yeah, we'll get all to that a little later when we talk about the draft. But yeah, I mean, go back to social media where it's us talking about. If you follow me, you've noticed probably the last 6 months or so, I have been way less active, and I'll admit, my life has been much happier because I haven't had to deal with the fucking stupidity, and it's so much better. I'll say getting on there for events like the draft was fun, but for me, it's like when I used to do the game day tweeting like throughout the game and just seeing like, they need to pull Binnington. He looks awful. And it's like he's let in 1 goal on 14 shots, and the defense is awful. You're telling me don't speak so matter-of-factly. You don't fucking know. You clearly don't understand hockey. So that's the kind of shit. I'm just like, I'm so done with social media.
See, I'm with you. In the off season, I don't post as much. I mean, I'll go through ups and downs, but a day or two I might, just a conversation I'm having. But generally speaking, not near as much as during the season. I get back on there during the season just because. But no, I'm with you. I agree with you. It's a shit show of shit on top of shit. It's just bad. And Adam Wainwright couldn't take it anymore. So
yeah,
he's gone.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I've had the thought before of getting rid of my account and just tweeting from the Let's Go Blues Radio account. Like that's gonna be my account, Kurt. I'm taking it over. And I thought about talking to you about that because I'm so tired of it.
Yeah. Well,
I haven't done it yet. So, but what we're
follow me if you want my daily Wordle update.
yeah, I do see Bill's daily Wordle.
Yeah, me too. Well, and what we're talking about now actually does bleed in a little bit, I'm sure. We're going to talk about here because this was a big social media event that happened on Saturday afternoon. So, if you're a Blues fan, unless you've been hiding under a rock with your fingers in your ears, you know about the Torey Krug trade fiasco. So on Saturday afternoon, it was leaked that a blockbuster trade between the Blues and Flyers was going to happen, but it just was not finalized yet. Pieces rumored to be involved from the Blues side included Krug and even Jordan Kyrou. From the Flyers, the rumors ranged from Kevin Hayes, which sounded like that was kind of the basis of the deal, which is weird to say when you say Jordan Kyrou maybe was involved. Right. Travis Sanheim, and then maybe even that 7th overall pick was in play. One leak suggested there were even 7 total players involved. It was reported early on that the holdup was a player not waiving his no-trade clause, and that was like almost immediate. We saw that, so some people were speculating maybe that was Kevin Hayes, but I think it was pretty clear that's not the case. I think seems like he's pretty unhappy in Philly. So later it was revealed it was a Blues defenseman. So once that happened, Jeremy Rutherford and a couple other guys started, I think, actually reaching out to those players and said, hey, were you asked to get traded to Philadelphia? And slowly leaks started coming out that Colton Parayko, Justin Falk, and Nick Leddy were never asked to waive their no-trade clause. So it was pretty damn clear who it was. It was Torey Krug. More leaks suggested that the Flyers wanted Krug to reshape their defense, but after he refused to waive his no-trade clause, the goal became to try and find a team that could flip Krug to. Rumors suggested Florida, Carolina, the Islanders, and Boston were potential suitors, but nothing came to fruition, and the deal was dead pretty much the next day. We'll talk about the deal that ends up getting made with the Blues here in a minute. But rumors were even speculating that Armstrong was also reaching out to GMs across the league, trying to facilitate a 3-team trade. Shortly after this, Krug did remove the Blues banner from his Twitter profile. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute, what the future of Krug might hold. But let me ask you guys, were you guys sitting here on your phone, refresh on Twitter all day? Because that's what I was doing.
No, I was outside doing yard work for 7 fucking hours. But
you're doing Ray King. You were doing Ray King in the backyard.
Yeah, it's not that time of year. It's not the time of year, but yes, great reference. Another professional athlete that'll beat your brother's ass.
Yeah. Well, we told you that, Jeff, right? The former Cardinal pitcher Ray King, nickname Yard Work.
Yep.
Yeah. No. My thought on this is Jordan Kyrou playing for John Tortorella.
Whoa.
His career is over.
Yeah.
He's not going to see the ice ever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it would have been a PLD situation. Not PLD. Pierre-Luc Dubois. It would have been a half a year in, Jordan Kyrou's asking for a trade again. Trade me right fucking now.
the social media comments surrounding this thing, while it was up in the air and who knew what was going to happen with it, this was a shit show too. This was, oh my God, especially when there's like leaked information that has teeth, right? So it's coming from somewhere that has some legitimacy. People get stupid. People went off on Armstrong for putting a trade together before asking Krug if he would waive his no trade clause. And he fucked up. He messed up. That's not the way. I'm like, that's how GMs typically do it. That's how Armstrong has said that he does it. He gets it because there's no point in asking a player if he'll waive his no trade clause to so-and-so team and upsetting him, thinking, oh gosh, you want to trade me? If a trade's never going to even get put together, why even do that?
And think about it this way too, that if you're doing that, let's say let's just use Parayko for an example here. He goes to Parayko. I want to trade you, like you said. Okay, I clearly have no future in this organization, first of all. But then it's like, I need to trade you. Where do you want to get traded to? I want to go to Edmonton. Okay. You're only going to negotiate with Edmonton then? Edmonton's going to pick up pretty quick because GMs talk. They're going to pick up pretty quick. They're only talking to us about this. Clearly, that's the only place this player wants to go. So I can just, I don't have to make an actual trade offer. I can just lowball Armstrong because clearly that's the only place Parayko wants to go to. That's not how it works. You can't do that. That's terrible business management.
It makes no sense to ask a player first. Like I said, because if a trade never even gets put together, then you never have the trade that gets put together, and you have an annoyed player that thinks you're trying to trade him. Yep. So why even burn that bridge with the player if that bridge is burnable or the player's sensitive? Get the deal in place first. Because if you're gonna approach the player, in both instances, you're approaching the player. In Armstrong's way of doing it, you have a deal in place, to propose to him. And if a player sees that deal in place, thinking, "Oh wow, this team wants me, and they're willing to give up this to get me," that could help persuade them that he could have a conversation with that team, then about going there or whatever. So I don't think people think things through entirely when they don't know how things function and work. They're just like, making comments without even thinking about it.
Well, and I told you guys, I listened to another Blues podcaster for about 45 seconds, and I was like, I can't listen to this. Like, this is awful. Because the person was literally saying that it was Krug's fault that this didn't go through, because Krug should have gone to Armstrong when this deal was signed, when he signed this contract. Hey, I've got a no trade. This is literally what he was saying. Doug, I've got a no trade clause. Here's the teams I'd be willing to go to.
That's
not how it works. Like, I'm signing this no trade clause, but if you want to trade me, here's the teams I want to go to. And no, when you sign the no trade clause, you're telling the GM, and what you said to me back, Kurt, was true too. You're telling the GM, I don't want you to trade me for 8 years. And if you are going to trade me, I want to say in where I'm going. Like, right. And I think the players do even understand. And yes, in the moment, they're going to be pissed. But I think at that point, they understand that, okay, there is a chance that he's going to try to trade me 3-4 years, whatever, into my contract. And he's going to come to me at some point and say, do you want to go to the Islanders? Do you want to go to the Coyotes? Like, they know that's a possibility, but the reason they sign it is because they're like, they can say yes or no. They have a say so.
And the reason why, and this podcaster is saying that Krug should have submitted a list right away. And then what? Like, can he change the list? I mean, that would change from year to year.
That is a modified no trade clause. Yeah. That is a thing.
Yeah, that
is a completely different thing.
Yeah. Well, and the thing, and with modified no trade clauses, the list of teams isn't submitted at the time of the contract. The list of teams is submitted when the team asks for a list of teams that you would be willing to be traded to.
Yep.
That it could come at any time. They may never ask him.
I mean,
you don't submit
imagine?
why would you want to be locked into a 10, 11, 12 team trade of these teams at the beginning of an 8-year contract, and year 5 that would be completely changed?
Could you imagine Doug Armstrong's reaction with Torey Krug signs a contract and then instantly his agent, here's the list of teams he's willing to be traded to. Doug would look at him and be like, what the fuck? Why did we just sign this if you're going to give me a team list right now? Makes no sense.
That's why you listen to this show.
Exactly. so we can talk over Bill and not let him have an opinion. Bill, please, your take on the Krug fiasco.
I don't have an opinion. No.
That's not true.
It's I mean it's I don't know. With Armstrong, I'm always curious as to whether, they're is this a standard operating procedure, or is this just all a long play ruse to get Jordan Kyrou to be scared that life can get worse? Right? You could go
I never even thought about that.
You could go play for John Tortorella, and I'm even gonna bring Torey Krug in on this.
That would be brutal, vicious to do.
I honestly don't think that's what happened, but I like to think, my mind will wander from time to time, and
You know what this reminds me of? Reminds me of something like a girlfriend in high school would do to her boyfriend. I'm reminded of a Boy Meets World episode where Corey is kind of sort of interested in another girl, and Topanga says, go date her. Go ahead. See if you have feelings for her. So Corey goes and dates her, comes back to Topanga and says, I don't have feelings for her. I love you. And then she breaks up with him because shouldn't have went on the date, even though she told him to.
That's right. I remember. I didn't watch that show. I remember that episode because it was kind of like a wow.
That was a
episode.
fucking trick. And I feel like it's the same thing here that Bill's saying that Armstrong will be doing to Kyrou.
See, this is why men can't. This is why men are like get pissed off at women because they can't figure them out. They do stuff like that to them. They tell them to do something, and they do it, and then they're mad at them for doing it.
I remember seeing that episode as a kid and just being like literally jumping up and just being like, what the fuck, Topanga? What the fuck? You told him to go on the date. I feel like I'd be doing the same thing here if I had the insider info and this was actually what Armstrong was doing.
Didn't they date in real life?
You just signed him to a contract, dude. What are you doing?
Didn't they date in real life or
Jordan
get married?
Kyrou and Doug Armstrong are dating. They don't have a personal relationships at work policy.
I thought you were gonna say a prenup.
Right.
They don't have a prenup.
Well, they have to sign the non-disclosure. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
NDAs, baby.
Oh, goodness. Well, either way, okay. I know that we didn't get, and I hope one day we somehow figure out what the possible trade was here. But let's just say it involved, let's take Kyrou out of it. Let's say it involved Krug. Maybe it involved one of the, and I know there were some rumors that said too that maybe it was one of the Blues' later 2 picks in the first round. It involved that, and the Blues are getting back Hayes, Sanheim, and maybe a prospect or another player, and maybe the Blues are shipping off one of their prospects. In the basis, and I know again that this is hard to judge because we didn't know all the pieces. Was this something you guys were interested in? Were you like, yes, I want to see this trade? Or were you like, fuck no, what are you doing? We don't want Hayes and Sanheim, especially Sanheim on that new deal. No, what were your guys' thoughts?
If Kyrou was involved and it was, it was just Krug, Kyrou from the Blues and the 7th overall pick, I assumed it would be a pick swap, 7 for 10. That's way overpayment by the Blues. It would have to involve like Travis Konechny as well, right? It's there's got to be another piece coming from Philly for that deal. and just that.
I didn't like the one of the proposed the rumored deals where we were giving up picks too, to make this happen, to basically unload Krug, right, to sweeten the deal so they take on his contract. I wasn't a fan of that. I'd rather see them buy out Scandella. If they're going to only do one thing with a defenseman, I mean, they did sign, well, we'll talk about in a second, Perunovich, but which kind of was like the writing on the wall for, okay, they may want to move Krug because they're essentially the same player. Maybe Krug is more durable. I don't know. He gets hurt too. But I was not a fan of moving the picks when they were rumored to be floating in there. I'd rather the Blues try and get rid of Scandella as opposed to possibly Krug because they just buy him out without costing picks or whatever to make a team take on a contract like Krug's. So
what if, and again, I know this is a huge what if scenario here, but what if you say you didn't like the picks? Let's say the Blues are including the 10 and 29 picks in this overall deal, but they're also getting back the 7 pick. Is that enough for you to kind of be like, they're moving up 3 spots? That could get them someone even better. They could have gotten the Mishkov kid that the Flyers ended up taking.
And Krug's leaving too in that deal?
Yeah. Would you have been okay with that?
Krug, 10 and 29 for the pick number 7?
I'm saying, no. I'm saying including Hayes, and maybe even including Sanheim. I'm saying part of a larger, because you said you didn't like the picks being involved.
Well, no,
so let's say the picks are involved, but the Blues are also getting back the number 7 pick.
Well, like I've always said, I'm up for trading anyone and anything to make this franchise better now and in the future. So, depending on what their plan was for pick number 7, I'm not against moving up, and I understand that you got to probably move a couple of picks to move up to do that. So,
Right.
I wouldn't be against that, especially if you free up salary for Krug, and you do have plans to make a move to acquire somebody else to fill his spot.
Right.
Well, Perunovich would probably, but still.
Right. In terms of Matvei Michkov, right, the proxy for him and his story being under contract in the K, it's Tarasenko, and the Blues were the team. Tarasenko should have been a top 5 pick in his draft year, and he fell to us all the way at 16. Right, we traded David Rundblad, to move up in the draft to get him.
Yeah,
probably one of the best trades in team history.
Yeah,
that and Dimitra for Krister Olsson.
Yeah, when I heard the comparisons to Tarasenko, I was like, you know what? Tarasenko leaves, and the next season we draft a guy that is compared to him. That'd be fine with that type of gamble to acquire a player like that.
And I think Tarasenko's success in the NHL is the reason why Michkov didn't fall farther.
Yeah,
fall
farther.
Fall hard.
Yeah.
I don't. Little secret: when I go to the podcast, I just don't talk to anybody for like months on it.
When the comparison was made, when I first heard that, they compared to Tarasenko, I'm thinking, I was like, oh, maybe he would. I mean, probably not, but and then when he did fall a couple spots, thinking, just a few more to go.
Yep.
But didn't happen.
No, I'll say I was, so in terms of just like reading through this, because I know I saw a lot of people that were just instantly, no, don't do this. Kevin Hayes, no. Travis Sanheim, no. I was like, dude, we're not in it to win a cup next year. I am all for some massive blockbuster trade. And again, when I saw Kyrou, I was kind of like, oh boy.
I'm not against trading Kyrou at all.
I'm not either. But
depends who we get back in return.
But it makes me more nervous because it's like, okay, you got to make sure you're getting good value.
Sure,
here.
yeah.
But I'm just saying, in terms of like watching this unfold on Saturday and then even into Sunday, I'm thinking, I'm not one of those people that are like I have a friend that was even posting on Facebook, somebody disconnect Armstrong's phone. What the fuck is he doing? We don't need Sanheim. We don't need Hayes. And I'm just like, do you want a repeat of last season? Like, let's get some new bodies in here and see what happens. I'd rather have that than roll out the same team we saw last year and end up in a shit spot again. I'm all for big trades if you can make them happen. And I'm all for watching them unfold in front of my eyes. So I was excited, not upset, watching all this go down.
I almost, and I'd be perfectly happy with the Blues sticking with Kyrou.
Me too.
I just because, he's still so young, and the raw talent is just oozing out of him, and he's just got to, learn how to
put it all together,
play with it, consistently.
Learn how to accept the pass and keep the puck on your stick a little bit longer.
Yeah, and maybe hustle more in the neutral zone. That'd be great.
Yeah.
But how many times do you see a player traded who's got 8 years left on his contract? I mean, my God.
Right.
That's you don't see that. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and the fact too that he would have been moving Krug too, because that was kind of the centerpiece of the deal. So that's what does he have? 5 years on his deal now?
And it's
four
at
left.
this point.
Four left.
And but that's the thing, right? It's like what my first thought when I heard about the deal is like, we talked all last year about how somebody on this defense has to get moved for us to have roster and salary cap flexibility going into this season. And if it's going to take including Jordan Kyrou in a trade to make that happen, I don't know. I don't think that's something that I really want. That's not a price I want to pay. Right. Yeah. So,
well, I think if you're trying to win a cup next year and you're thinking moving Kyrou to allow the acquisition of somebody else, Kyrou and Krug moving out, and you can then replace them with whatever A and B to, it's like, oh my gosh, we're better. We're a lot better. And as far as cup aspirations go next season, then I get it. But if we're not, then I don't think that makes I don't know. Again, it depends on the move, but I think it makes a lot more sense to stick with Kyrou next season if our goal, if the ceiling is not the cup, then just give him another year experience and see how he does. It's what do we got to lose?
Right. Yeah. Give him another season, where he's got opportunities to get benched for shit plays, and right, because I think he's got 1 or 2 more years left, right, before people are saying he is now in the prime of his career. And if he's still showing those mental mistakes, it's time to move on.
Yeah, he's 25 now. I think 26, 27. He's got to be there by 27. Right.
He's got to have it put together by that. Right.
Yep. So Travis Sanheim was a name that was tossed around a lot, and I know the metrics show he is having he had a really bad year last year, and he had so years before that. I was actually surprised to see how many people were like, no, you're just taking on another bad contract by doing that. I was all for that bad contract because, one, I don't believe he has a no trade clause. So maybe you still find a suitor for him if it doesn't work out after a couple of years. And two, he's younger. He's 27. And again, last year was awful. And guess what? He was on a shit Flyers team. So I again, you guys can disagree with me if you want. If it means moving out Krug and bringing in Sanheim, I know that it's more term, but it's less money. And to me, he's younger. And I've actually always liked Sanheim. He was a guy that came up in Blues rumors a couple of years ago that I was interested in.
He does have a no trade clause.
Oh, he does.
Full no trade clause, years 1 through 4, and then 5 through 8. It's a 12-team no trade list.
Okay, my bad. I'll take that back. But I still believe what I said.
One of those. He had the 12-team no trade list.
Who did?
Hayes.
Yeah. But the Blues were
luckily the Blues were not on that list.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I was all for if you could get Sanheim, it basically flipping in the trade for defensemen, flipping Krug for Sanheim. I was willing to give Sanheim the chance because I feel like with me, we've seen what we've gotten out of Krug as a blue. To me, it's not been that impressive. He's a power play quarterback, and that's his best attribute. If you can bring in a guy who can play a little bit better defense and maybe a change of scenery is all it takes, because we've seen that. We've seen that with Blues players last season, that sometimes all it takes is a change of scenery. I'm willing to take that on and see what happens. So how are you guys feeling about that?
I mean, he was on a bad team last year. And defenseman on a bad team, I don't know. I mean, you're not going to. What's he make? He makes 6.25 million, and Krug makes
6.5.
6.5.
Every
Saving
Blues
$250K.
defenseman makes 6.5 except
Yep.
Marco Scandella.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's a coin toss, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
I mean,
is 250 that big of a savings?
But to me, the coin toss, it's not even a coin toss. To me, it's we know what we're getting out of Krug on this team. I want to see what we could get out of a Sanheim.
yeah. Well, we talked last year about defensive coach maybe possibly being one of the only options they could actually realistically do when they did it.
Right.
So maybe obviously, you could try to make some moves on defense. I get it. But if you can't, maybe it's not the end of the world, and that, well, maybe we'll see what we can do with new defensive leadership. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a not a Hail Mary, but it's a shot in the dark.
It's a plan B, if you will.
Plan B.
Right.
Yes.
And that's the thing, right? At this point, if we aren't able to unload one of the defensive contracts, and I don't know, the whole thing with Krug removing the Blues banner from his Twitter, right? There's animosity there, so something might have to happen. But if it doesn't, right? If Mike Weber comes in here and resets this team, right? This defensive core should not have been so shitty last year, right?
Mhm.
They should be improved, right? And I think one of the easiest things, and frankly one of the things I'm most shocked that this team has lacked, is shot blocking, right? They have abandoned that. And if you put that back into this team, like we just watched the Vegas Golden Knights stampede their way to a Stanley Cup, and they were a physical team. They were the Blues from 2019, right? They were cut from that same cloth. Lots of physical play, and people were willing to sell out and block shots. Jonathan Marchessault, had just an incredible playoff, and I can remember 3 occasions during the playoffs where he got out there and he blocked shots, right?
Mm-hmm.
And their defense would do that night in and night out. Bring that element back to this team, and I think we can be good. And I think the guys that we have out there, I don't know, Letty might not be the best, but Bortuzzo, if that guy's still gonna be here, right? He is a damn good shot blocker, right? And so
the only time I even saw Bortuzzo block shots anymore was the PK.
Yeah.
Like during 5-on-5, it seemed like he gave up on shot blocking.
No,
that had to be a philosophy.
It was a complete philosophy for this team, and I think it was completely wrong, right? A heavy team has to include that element.
Yep. No, I agree. And I mean, imagine if this team steps out, and again, I don't think they're going to be making playoff noise, but if this defense all of a sudden shots against, goals against, shutouts, whatever defensive stats, obviously the advanced stats as well. If every one of those numbers improves drastically, I don't think we're going to see Mike Van Ryn working in the NHL ever again.
Right.
Wow. The defense was really, really bad. For those who watched the team play, they saw it in person. The defense was atrocious. So, I mean, why would he be considered for a job anyway? The last 2 years, right? So
I think he'll be back in coaching juniors or coaching maybe even in the AHL. I don't know. I haven't seen if he's accepted anything, but I'm sure he's not even getting calls for NHL jobs right now.
Yeah.
No, he will. The NHL is just, it's a carousel. He'll get on somewhere.
It is, but he hasn't even been in the league that long as a coach. So we'll see. You're probably right, but we'll see.
4 years?
One last
4
thing.
years, right?
Yes. Yeah, he was brought in 2019. One last thing I'll say about this whole Torey Krug thing. The fact that all this was leaked, we've never seen this with Armstrong. So you have to know this was on the Philadelphia side. How pissed do you think Doug Armstrong was that all this shit was getting leaked?
Stuff gets leaked all the time from other. Never from Armstrong's side. You never hear
Right.
that. So it's always safe to say whenever something happens from the Blues, it's always like, oh, that's okay. But people were speculating, well, it could have been an agent, could have been another player. Yeah, it could have been anything, I guess. But why would Krug's agent? I wonder the process here is. I guess Krug's agent is contacted about asking. He's probably the go-between. So yeah, yeah. So I mean, he could have leaked it. I don't know why he would.
Well, if it's
That makes
Krug's
no
agent
sense.
leaking it, don't you think he would have leaked that it was Krug that was being asked to waive his no trade? Because it took some Blues insiders some time to figure out who it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It could have been anybody that leaked it, but I don't know why anybody else would have. Maybe he told a teammate and a teammate leaked it. I don't know. That's
maybe
possible.
Kevin Hayes. Yeah, you're right. Maybe it was because Hayes was again. I hate to say the centerpiece, but it was pretty clear that it was Hayes to the Blues was like the first thing we saw. Maybe it was Hayes. Like he got asked, he said yes or whatever, and. Maybe he told his agent. Maybe his agent told someone. Maybe his wife told someone. Who knows?
Hayes and Krug are pretty good friends, aren't they? I mean, that's what I heard.
Yeah, they are.
So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna guess that it was someone on Briere's side until that makes the most sense to me. That someone blabbed.
It was Jordan Kyrou.
Jordan Kyrou.
Yeah, it was. Definitely. It's always Kyrou's fault.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
If he just told everybody.
So Blues and Flyers did end up making a smaller deal, sending a 6th-round pick to Philadelphia for Kevin Hayes at 50% retained. So for the Blues, they will be paying $3.571 million for 3 seasons each. Hayes is 31 years old. He's a 6'5" center at 216 pounds. Last year, 18 goals, 36 assists, 54 points in 81 games. He was actually an all-star for the Philadelphia Flyers last year. I was shocked when I saw, and it was a loud minority, but I was shocked to see people saying, "Why? What? Kevin Hayes?" And I'm like, at 3, you're getting a good third-line center, potential second-line center, for half the price he signed at $3.571 million. That's a fucking steal.
And for
you only got him for a 6th-round pick.
I fail to see the downside here. It's not a long contract. It's 3 years left on it, right? He's 31. He'll be 34 when it's over. I mean, it's not exactly young, but it's not old either. I don't know. I mean, unless you just hate Kevin Hayes, I fail to see the issue with acquiring Hayes. I think a lot of people thought that maybe this closed the door on O'Reilly too, coming back. So I'm just saying that's what people were saying.
Right, I don't know. I could still see that happening because I think you still move Shen to the wing. I don't like Buchnevich at center. I think you put him back on the wing. And then you're down the middle. You're Thomas, O'Reilly, and Hayes. I think that would still work.
Yeah, but the salary cap, right? We have less than $4 million.
Yeah,
is O'Reilly coming back for that number? Maybe he would. If there's one player in the NHL that I would think would say I don't need the money, it'd be Ryan O'Reilly. Yeah. But can the Blues put all of that? Put their the entire rest of it.
And
maybe if they do buy out Scandella or find a way to unload his contract. Maybe it gets closer to working, but I don't know. I would love that.
What was I'm trying to find it right now. I can't seem to find it. There was a quote from Hayes, because again, talking about people who, because I saw one of my friends also commented too and was like, oh, it was clear that, I'm seeing Flyers fans saying good riddance and that he
Good riddance.
was a bad locker room guy. I saw a quote from Hayes. I think he was talking to Rutherford, maybe. I can't remember who he was talking to. But he basically, I think he said something like, the city is great. The fans are great. My teammates were great. Can't wait to get to St. Louis. Literally mentioned everything but the coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that tells me, get me the fuck away from John Tortorella. And if you want to say he's a bad locker room guy, yeah, maybe he was pissed off and hated playing for Tortorella. And guess what? Who else have we acquired that was a center that we heard was a bad locker room guy and didn't give effort?
A guy that lost his passion? He lost his passion, I believe, didn't he?
Lost his passion for hockey, didn't want to play anymore.
Their fans said good riddance when they
fans said good riddance. This is a steal for them because, they got rid of a bad contract.
They won the trade.
Ryan O'Reilly ended up winning a Conn Smythe Trophy. Not saying that's going to be Kevin Hayes, but come on. I think this is a great deal for the St. Louis Blues.
I think the only way you criticize this deal is if you feel we give up too much, and we didn't give up hardly anything.
A sixth-round pick.
Yeah. And
the
salary
retains half the salary.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a win-win. Right. It's a win-win, and if it doesn't pan out, stick him on the fourth line, and I don't know, maybe move him at the deadline.
Right. It was the kind of the Ryan Johansson for Alex Galchenyuk trade that kind of set the stage for it, right? With the retained salary going the other way.
A little bit. Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, like, we're talking about how upset we would be, with the original proposed deal, and that would be overpayment to get the centerpiece of the deal, the guy that the Blues targeted the whole time, for a 6th-round pick, and Philly pays half his salary for 3 years. It's fucking brilliant.
I think a lot of people just don't care about what was given up. I think they just look at the player like, is he going to win us a cup? No, fuck him. I think there's so many people like that he's not a big name. Right. I don't know his name. Fuck him.
Right. But
and let's be like this.
That was Ryan O'Reilly, right?
right now, before we get into free agency, if they don't make this trade, who is your third line center on this team? Nathan Walker?
Well, you play Shen at center, and
I guess
Buchnevich can play center,
but then you're thinning out your wings.
Well, I think Shen's better at center. He wants to play center.
No, I agree, but I think if you're playing Thomas, Shen, Buchnevich, I don't like Buchnevich at center. I think you move him back to the wing, but if you don't do that, or if you do that, then who's your third line center? Nathan Walker? Alexei Toropchenko? I mean, you don't have the center depth right now. So I think you make this trade, you get a good, solid third line center. You know he belongs in the NHL. Again, hopefully they put Buchnevich back on the wing. Shen plays your second line center. I think they're set pretty well in their top 9 by making this trade.
No, I agree with you.
Right.
I have no problem with this. Yeah.
Right. It's a great trade as long as the defense is good next year. Right. That's the opportunity cost of this trade. Right, is that we don't get to move Krug in this deal. We don't get to open up that flexibility.
Yeah.
Although, like I said before, $250K as flexibility is the delta between Krug and Sanheim's contract.
Well,
I don't know.
And people saw the acquisition of Hayes and saw that he was not a defenseman. And that's another instant negative for people. We got to fix the defense. That's what we're doing. Priority one. Also have
to fill out an NHL roster.
I know. Yeah. I
You know.
I know. I just this is why you're not as active on social media, Jeff, is because stuff like that said all the time, and it's just like shut up, just shut up.
It's just it's insane to see people react that way. And I'll admit, like the friend who was against this, I very much value his view on hockey and the Blues, and I was shocked to hear him say that he wasn't a fan of this. I'm like, dude,
why not?
He said because he was reading that Flyers fans are happy to be rid of him.
See,
and I'm like,
I don't know about
even if that is true, even if it's like we get him and he's not good, like you said, you gave up a 6th round pick. You didn't give up a first. You didn't give up a Jordan Kyrou. Like, it's not it to me, the reward way outweighs the risk here.
Sure.
Right. And look at our recent track record with change of scenery guys, right?
Yeah.
Verana.
Exactly.
Right?
Logan Brown.
We'll talk about him in a minute.
Some players just suck.
Kapanen, Verana, O'Reilly. I get it. Yeah, you're
I want to give credit here, but I can't remember who said this, but somebody on social media, and I think it might have even been like an actual insider, said that he felt that this trade no, I mean an actual. It's not an insider,
fake insider man, fake secret insider man.
Yeah, no, whoever said this, I thought he put this brilliantly. He felt like this was Armstrong. The deal is dead with Krug, and it's just him being patient and saying, okay, we'll figure out something. And it was Briere saying, well, fuck, it's already been leaked. I got to trade Hayes. I got to get rid of him. All right, Blues, what do you got? 6th round pick, I'll retain 50. Sure, let's do it. As the new GM, it was like, I have to make this trade now. But Armstrong was like, fuck it, I've got all summer. Krug knows I wants to trade him. Shit, I could trade him in 2 months. I don't have to trade him right now. So I feel like this, and I agreed with that sentiment, that this was Armstrong being the veteran GM and being like, I don't have to make this trade today.
Do you think maybe part of it had to do with maybe Briere's camp did leak the info and Armstrong went off on Briere maybe? And
scared the shit out of him.
Well, no, but maybe Briere did come back to Armstrong and say, "Hey, well, let's try and make this Hayes deal work out." And maybe he's like, "No, fuck you. You're leaking shit to the media. And I don't want to." And maybe as a compromise, the Blues got Hayes for cheap.
And your kid threw a fucking wheelchair down. You're all a bunch of dicks, aren't you?
You think Briere sent him like a gift basket, like a fruit basket or something? Like, I'm sorry, can we still make this trade work?
He sent him some Geno steaks.
There you go.
It is weird that it is weird that a big deal was in place, except for Krug nixing it, and then it gets leaked. And then come back later, and we get the guy we're kind of targeting anyway for next to nothing.
Yeah,
that is kind of weird.
Yeah, again, I love this trade. I think again, even if it doesn't pan out, I don't think this is a trade up. Like if Doug Armstrong's fired in 2 years, even if this doesn't pan out, I don't think we'll ever point at this and be like, "Yeah, that was a bad move by Doug." Like even if it doesn't pan out, I think we'll still be like, "Nah, it was a high risk, high reward, low risk move." I think that's how we'll look at this, even if it doesn't work. All right. So some more contract stuff going on here. Blues signed Scott Perunovich to a 1 year, $775,000 extension. This was announced right before the shit came out with Krug possibly getting traded. So I think this was something else that kind of led to writing on the wall. Well, the Blues got Perunovich. He's a one-way deal. They expect him to play in the NHL. He's a very similar player, even similar in stature to Torey Krug. So we don't need Krug anymore. 19 career NHL games for Scott Perunovich, 6 assists, and of course had that bad injury last year. Hopefully we'll see him on the opening day lineup this year.
They were going to, okay. I think people read a lot into this, which, maybe, but they were going to re-sign him anyway.
Right.
He was due a new contract.
Yeah.
So they weren't just going to they weren't just going to go to arbitration or whatever. Or they were going to re-sign him. So the fact that they signed him did not mean that Krug was probably going to be traded, because they were absolutely going to re-sign Perunovich anyway to an extension. So now I want to the ceiling for Perunovich offensively is sky high as far as a playmaker, assist man, way higher than Krug, I think. And I so hope that he can stay healthy, that he gets it together in his own zone, because if he can play just average defense and stay healthy, I think he's a gem offensively, not just on the power play. I think he's going to be fantastic. I'm so high on him offensively. I hope it works out for him health wise, because that's been his major hurdle.
You know what I think his ceiling is, and I would love if he reaches the ceiling. Kevin Shattenkirk as a Blue.
Maybe not as much goal wise, but maybe even more so assist wise. So
I'm saying more points wise.
Yeah, I think he's
puck carrying, skating. He's got all those skills.
I think he might be like a 6 goal and 48 assist guy or something, or 52 assist guy or something like this. Like, wow, that's nice.
Yeah, if he can pan out to be the power play specialist he was against Colorado 2 years ago,
I mean,
fuck, that's enough in itself, right? And the one Rutherford piece that I somewhat read, because I'm a subscriber to The Athletic, but there's so much content there, it's hard to really pick what I ever really want to read. But the one piece he did was talking about Perunovich and how he's learning from an MMA legend, right? And that's hopefully learning the fitness end of the game and how to be tough. Because getting knocked out in a preseason game, when we're doing our preseason show and we watch him get knocked out for the season, that was just terrible. And that can't happen at this point, and that's why you got a 1-year deal, right? Yep. A 1-year, one-way deal. This is your last chance with us.
Yeah, he's played 19 games, right, in NHL, so he hasn't really accumulated anything to warrant any type of substantial contract yet. So, yeah, the 1-year deal is probably as more beneficial to him, so he can actually prove himself this season and then get a nice deal next season.
Yep. So, boys, I'm going to read these next 2 stories together. So if you want to comment on either of them, go ahead. Blues sign Adam Gaudette, I guess is what I was trying to say. Adam Gaudette to a 2-way, 1-year, $775,000 extension. He gets $400,000 in the AHL. Blues acquired Gaudette from Toronto in February in the O'Reilly deal. Since joining the Thunderbirds, Gaudette posted 7 goals and 10 assists in 25 games. If you listen to our show, talking to a friend of the show, Vanessa Graff, who actually saw at Pride on Sunday, which was awesome. Vanessa said that she felt the Thunderbirds were very impressed by him and could easily be a Blues call-up anytime as a veteran presence to join the team, thinking of guys like Dave Scatchard, I'm trying to think of some others. The Blues have called up Chris Butler, kind of veteran guys you can call up that what you're going to get from them. Vanessa, as I say Vanessa's name, she appears. Someone wants it to be fall already. She's like Beetlejuice over here. How about that? Yeah.
Is that what Beetlejuice does?
Vanessa. There she is.
Okay. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Sequel
coming. That's true. Very excited about it.
I got to watch it again then.
But with Vanessa, if you missed the start of the show, I'm wearing this because it is my Minnesota Whitecaps jersey, and the PHF is no more. So wearing it in mourning to a certain extent. So also the Blues tender qualifying offers to forwards Hugh McGing and Alexei Toropchenko, as well as defenseman Tyler Tucker. That means that there was a couple guys that were not tendered qualifying offers. Those were Brady Lyle, Dmitry Samorukov, and Logan Brown, all not qualified. That means they will become unrestricted free agents on July 1st. So we'll see. Obviously, the name that stands out there is Logan Brown. St. Louis kid, always rooted for him. We've talked about him plenty on this show. Just not an NHL talent at this point. I hope he gets a chance somewhere else and he takes off, but it just was not going to happen here in St. Louis.
I liked the chance they took on him, and he was so promising early on, right? He was getting chances. He scored a few goals, looked good, but then just faded pretty quick. And there were times where he was in the lineup, and after the game, I was like, "Oh, he played." I had no idea he was on the ice.
322.
Yeah, it was just like
TOI. Yeah, no. Don't forget his other great contribution to this team, allowing us to get rid of Zach Sanford.
Right. Yes.
His best contribution.
Yes. Yeah. No. He. I mean, the first game he drew into last year was, after that great 3-0 start, and we're going 82-0. He draws in against Winnipeg, and the Blues lose the next 4 games, and then he gets injured, and we win finally. Yeah. It wasn't meant to be, right? Guy, he was what, 12th overall in
11th,
sounds right.
11th.
Yeah, but in the all St. Louis draft year. So really, really wanted him to work out here. But not happening.
Samorukov was interesting because he played twice as many games for the Blues as he did with Edmonton, which was 2.
2
games.
Hey, I thought, what?
He contributed more to the Blues' success when he played for the Oilers.
That's true. That's a very good point. No, I'll add. I was very happy that they gave him a chance because, man, I would have hated if his only chance to play in the NHL was that one game. Because, my God, he got lit up.
Oh, my God.
That was bad. That was so bad.
Yeah, he did not do anything like that playing for the Blues. So I was happy to at least see that.
So, speaking, I was to say Sam Marukov. Speaking of him, Costin got dealt to Detroit, and I mean, people were saying it was a salary dump, and I guess it is. What is this? What does he make right now? Let's see. He makes
$1 million, I think.
Is that what he makes? Because he's not. Is he under contract right now? He's not even under contract right now.
No, he's not right now.
So they said it was a salary dump. I guess they just didn't want to sign him at all.
Yeah, so they
acquired his rights. Detroit acquired his rights.
Yeah, he's in negotiations with a KHL club right now. And I think Edmonton didn't want to have those battles, but I guess Detroit is willing to. So they're like, okay, just give us him then.
Yeah, because he made his cap hit was less than $1 million. It was 5 seasons, parts of 5 seasons in the NHL, and then last year it was $750. So he doesn't make much.
No.
So you think the KHL might want him at more money. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think and you mentioned that, and I said it on social media earlier that people were pissed, especially when it was announced that Samorukov was not going to be brought back. I think there was a lot of people, and Vanessa says Omsk was the club. That's right. Omsk is the club that's trying to get him in the KHL. But yeah, when he was not retained just a couple days ago, fans were livid and were just like, "We get traded Klim Kostin for him. What the fuck? And look at what he's doing in Edmonton." You don't trade a player that you think is part of your long-term future for future considerations.
Yeah,
that just doesn't happen. And I'm not saying he's not an NHL player. I think he could fill in on the 4th line for any NHL club. He's a solid player, but to get livid over losing a guy of that caliber and then see him get traded for future considerations was kind of just desserts for me.
Yeah, but it's anybody that has an opportunity to flex online and act like they're smarter than the GM, people are going to take that. So,
yep. So free agency begins on Saturday. That is coming up here. So the Blues right now projected cap space is at just under $4 million at 3.935. Right now the Blues do have free agents in Josh Levo, Tyler Pitlick, Logan Brown, and Tomas Greiss. We will not see any of those people back. The only one I could see maybe if he's left over at the end of the year, at the end of the summer, is if Josh Levo is still out there. I could see the Blues saying, we'll bring you back on a 2-way contract. And because, he's a good AHL player. So I could see that. Otherwise, I don't think we see any of those guys back. Any disagreements there?
No.
Levo would be the only one, and most definitely would be a guy without extensive injuries during camp that would start in the A and come back only as an emergency call-up.
Right. Reports from David Pagnotta of the fourth period says Blues are exploring bringing back Ryan O'Reilly. Rumors have also suggested, which I've seen reports. You see those like Facebook promoted posts. It's like rumors are that Ryan O'Reilly would love to come back to St. Louis, and you click the article and it doesn't actually say shit about it. So I don't know if that's actually true, but rumors have been saying that he is interested in coming back to St. Louis.
I haven't seen that anywhere, but I when I saw you put this in here, I was trying to find it. I couldn't find where he mentioned that or said that or anything. So I mean, maybe it is, but
it was in the headline.
I couldn't find it.
Right. It was in the headline.
I couldn't find it. Yeah.
No, I literally saw some post that suggested, and then there was, comments about him not wanting to go back to Toronto. Something said that the former teams are interested in him, which means St. Louis and Colorado. But I think Colorado that ship has sailed because they got Ryan Johansson. Right. So, I don't know. I'd still be open to it. I'd love to have ROR back. I think Oscar Sundqvist is another guy that I would totally be interested in.
Yeah,
because he seems to love the city.
Yeah, he still lives here. He goes to he's
a brewery fan,
games, right?
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's more likely that if anybody comes back, it's Sonny. Would he's a guy. He's always going to be welcome on this team. Right. So whether it's this year, next year, whatever, I'd prefer O'Reilly if there was some way it could work out. But it's going to be tough with that current salary cap number.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how much less he wants to take, right? I mean,
right.
I think everybody wouldn't be surprised at all if he took less, but how much less? I don't. I mean, who knows?
I mean,
right
now, going into free agency. Right under $4 million, he's getting more than that on the open market. There's no doubt.
Well,
now, if the Blues make a trade tomorrow and free up a bunch more salary, then I could definitely see it. But right now, I just don't. And the only other way I could maybe see it is if the Blues somehow work out with O'Reilly and say, "Hey, we're going to pay you a lot less, but we're guaranteeing you a job when you retire." That's the only other way I could possibly see it.
So he's 32 right now. So I mean, how long do you sign him for? Because Armstrong, especially lately, has been big on getting the AAV down by giving people longer term. So it's like, do you sign him for 5 years?
Just give him 7. I'm just kidding. No, don't do that.
5 years.
Give him 15.
Yeah, right.
Let him retire. I would love to see Vanessa Graf. Sonny would be the best option. That'd be great. I'd love to see him back. I like the guy, and he's not. I mean, it's not like he's he's going to be your third, fourth line guy, right? So it's like that's perfect.
After the trade of Hayes, we saw a bunch of people putting out their lines, and guys even like Jim Thomas, Lou Korak, they had Nathan Walker as your fourth line center. Again, I don't think Nathan Walker is a center. If you get Oscar Sundqvist, that's a solid fourth line center.
In a second. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if he's playing in a city where he probably wants to be.
Oh, I
mean, he
guarantee
lives
he
here.
wants to be here.
Yeah, so I mean,
Oscar Sundqvist would sign here for league minimum and city season tickets. Right.
I would love that. That'd be great.
Oh, and
Yeah,
and
it would.
you
The
know, all the
stipulation
Irvin
would have
Chestnut he could handle, but
the stipulation would be that he can't play on Saturdays during the MLS season.
right.
The St.
Get
Louis take a shot at a
forehands.
guy like Tyler Benson. Yeah,
get
forehands.
forehands involved and have them a lifetime supply of something.
Yep. Tyler Benson apparently is a question here. 25 years old. Maybe I don't. I mean, Blues are all about reclamation projects right now. Why not? We'll see. Yeah, he's 32nd overall pick from 2016. That's an interesting question. Race
He's
fan
only-
rocks for
He's only
big
25.
Air Brewer fan.
Only
Yeah.
25.
Yeah, kind of a fallen prospect, but like I said, we've talked a lot about reclamation projects the last couple weeks. He'd be the biggest one, so that would be interesting. All right, so guys, we are an hour and a half into the show, and we are finally talking about the NHL draft. But luckily, none of us are draft experts, and if you have paid attention to this show, you will know that we have had a lot of draft experts on this show. So I would recommend going back and listening to those, because each one of those, we've talked about the first pick the Blues made. So if you want more insight, that's why we bring on people like that. So we will talk about the draft picks here, but I'm going to go ahead and just give this overarching commentary that none of us are draft experts. We know about probably what people know that are a little bit into the know of, like reading prospect reports and maybe watching clips on YouTube. So I'm just going to be honest with you and say that. Kurt, Bill, if you disagree, please tell me. But
no, well, how many most people out there aren't watching the guys in person. They aren't scouts, you know,
Scoots?
and they're going
Can't even
by
find 8 hours of YouTube videos.
their analysis is essentially the analysis of other people.
right.
I mean, they're just regurgitating what they hear other people say.
I'm going to
Most
tell
people.
I'm going to tell you right now, people that consider themselves draft experts, 90% of them, and I do not feel like I am exaggerating, 90% are just regurgitating information that the actual experts are actually reporting on.
They're looking up stuff online about, you know, from eliteprospects.com or whatever the site they go to, or whatever people are talking about, you know, seeing as far as reporting on how these players are doing. And then they're just repeating it as you know, as their own. So that is guaranteed at least 90% of it, probably way more actually.
And I said it earlier, like the thing that Rutherford tweeted, like, what do the Blues do here with the number 10 pick? And somebody saying they're dumb if they don't take defense. Like, what do you know about this draft class, sir? Like, please inform me. Who should they take then that you've actually seen play, that you've scouted, that you've watched his team games? Please tell me, who should they take then? Like, and that is, and I'm not saying that one person said that, but there is, and you know what, I'll go ahead and call him by name because he's pissing me off, and we've not liked him on this show for years. Gabe Foley, who's a former St. Louis Game Time writer, said the Blues do not know how to draft because they took too many left-handed defensemen. Fuck you. You don't know shit, son. Like, the way that kind of take is taken is, so all 6 of these guys will be Blues defensemen in 2023, 2024.
Yeah, they won't trade them, move them at all. No.
That's not how it works. These guys are going to get traded. They know some of these guys are not going to pan out within even 2 years. These guys won't even be on the Blues depth chart, some of them. And guess what? 1 or 2 of them, if you're lucky, are going to hit and be Blues defensemen in a couple of years. But for the most part, these guys won't be Blues.
And when they do, and if, you know, 1 or 2 of them do make the team, the makeup of the team in a couple of years could be completely different. They might actually need a left-handed defenseman or whatever. But, you know, like I said earlier in the show, Armstrong has said this, and it just shows to Goya that he doesn't pay attention necessarily to, or didn't hear Armstrong say this, about how he handles players that he drafts or draft picks. Everything is an asset to him. Everything has value. Some different levels of different very amounts of value. So, if he has a pick that he can deal, then for something he wants or a need, then he does. If he has and he drafts somebody, the best player available probably at the time, and then it becomes an asset. So if they have a surplus of that kind of an asset on the team, then he can deal it for a need that this team has or try to. So that's the way it works. It's not like when you draft these guys. I mean, and people know this. I don't know why he said that. He knows this. He knows that those players could very well be traded for something the Blues need. Why would you say that? Why would you assume that because these players are drafted, then now we got a bottleneck left-handed defenseman. We're screwed. We got 5 left-handed D on the defense. And it's gonna suck.
Blues have got to right now trade Nick Leddy and Marco Scandella because they're left-handed defensemen, and they just drafted too many left-handed defensemen. So they need to move them right now to make room for them.
I think they need to move those two for other reasons.
Yes, I agree. But
the left-handed
I'm making
defense.
fun of the sentiment.
Yeah, I know. And I honestly, and I said this to you, I think on Twitter. I would every single time give me the best player available over whether they shoot left or right-handed. I mean, I'm not gonna go down a dozen spots as far as players and how good we feel they are on the draft chart, on our draft chart, right? Just because he shoots a different shoots right instead of left. I'm not going to do that. Why would I do that?
Yep.
That's silly.
I agree. Well, I will say we'll talk about the draft here as a whole very quickly before we get into the Blues picks. But so first round was on Wednesday. 2 through 7 was today, this morning on Thursday. Before the Blues made their pick, when they were coming up onto the stage, I was shocked by the panel. I don't know if you guys watched it live or even watched it at all.
Yeah,
I was shocked
in the background,
by the panel when they were saying the Blues have to take a defenseman here. They have to take a defenseman because look at what the defense had they did last year. They have got to pick a defenseman. And I'm like, whoever they pick here is, chances are they're not going to be on the team next year. You know this. Why are you saying they have to take a defenseman?
And to fill time.
And so
no way should they have taken it. If they would have taken a defenseman, and again, I'm not a draft expert, but just knowing what I know, if they would have taken a defenseman, I would have been like, that's a mistake. Too much offensive firepower in the top 20. What are you doing?
Right. And so that was Brian Boucher, right? And he said that like 5 picks in a row. And he said, like, I'm not going defenseman. Right. I love Brian Boucher as an in-game analyst, but maybe the draft isn't his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm up and down on Boucher. Sometimes he's great. Sometimes he says the dumbest stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes he's too much of a goalie.
Fuck you.
I hated Boucher when he first started doing games. I thought he was terrible, and he got a lot better.
No, I appreciate him as an in-game analyst for ESPN. I think he has come a long way from, even during 2019, he was still a little rough around the edges, but right now he's great. And it just, they brought back, the one thing that I'm grateful, and Chelios has left ESPN now.
Yes.
But if they would have forced PK Subban and Marc Messier on us, that would have been awful. But I think for the most part they got the they got things right with who they had there. Definitely having Emily Kaplan as the one interviewing the GMs and the players after they got picked, right? She's the right personality to be doing that. But Boucher not so much. Kevin Weeks even got on my nerves with some of his that's my boy. Like I heard that way too often.
Yeah, I agree. He was pulling a Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen not Wedding Singer, Masked Singer. Every time it's a masked and it's a guy. It's my man. And I'm like, you're not best friends with Bob Saget. Shut up, man.
I think
Like,
he peaked.
same thing with Brian with Kevin Weeks. I was thinking the same thing. Like, your boy, really? Have you ever even talked to this kid?
I think Nick Cannon peaked in Drumline. That was his.
I'm not a Nick Cannon fan.
Have you seen Drumline?
No.
No. It was enjoyable. He's in it, obviously. Drummer.
I might watch it, but I cannot stand the man. Drives me crazy.
I'm not a fan either.
I hate Beat Shazam's a great show. He's guest hosting because I guess Jamie Foxx is filming movies right now. And I did not realize how much I appreciated Jamie Foxx until Nick Cannon took over that show. Whew. Anyway, totally on a tangent there. So yeah, I agree with you guys on the presentation. You know what I would have loved? Give me the TNT crew for the draft. I don't care if they don't know shit about the draft. I would have loved to hear Paul Bissonnette interview those kids.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, and then just imagine like Wayne Gretzky being on the draft floor talking to some of these kids. They would have been, holy shit, I'm talking to Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He could set Connor Bedard back 5 years in his development.
Yeah, right.
I actually think Gretzky would be a terrible guy to conduct an interview. He is not that kind of person. He is not a guy to lead an interview. That'd be weird for him. Yeah,
you're right. But it would have been funny to see the reaction from kids. Yeah. Holy shit, I'm talking to Wayne Gretzky.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So big news out of the top three. Connor Bedard clearly goes first, so we hate him now. Fuck you, Connor Bedard. I hope you have a terrible NHL career. Anaheim picks up Leo Carlsson, which was a crazy move because everybody said Adam Fantilli was far and away the number 2 pick. So they liked Leo Carlsson. They took him. I will be very interested to see where this lands in 5 years because if Fantilli goes off and has a ridiculous career and Carlson's just that'll be interesting to see how Ducks fans are handling it.
It's going to be the Sam Bowie of the NHL draft.
Yeah. Did you see Fantilli's he had the 3-piece going on?
Yes.
Did you see that? Oh my God.
Did you see that, Kurt?
Every one of his coaches,
no.
Everybody that helped him get there, he had their names stitched on his vest.
That gave me goosebumps, man.
Yeah.
That was the coolest thing. And I am rooting for that kid so hard. That is incredible. Yeah. I just had a work meeting today where somebody asked me about, because this is my background in my work meetings. And they asked me why I love hockey. And I actually told, I'm going to tell you a story about the draft last night and just how appreciative, even me, a kid, a dude who never played professional, never did anything, even in juniors, nothing like that. But how appreciative I am of my parents, my coaches, the fucking 4 a.m. practices, the staying after games to talk with parents. Like, hockey players get it, man. We fucking get it. Kurt, I see what you're pulling up. What are you doing? Go ahead. Is this really what you want to play? Go ahead. I love this. Oh my God. This fits our show so well.
It really does.
Are not understanding this. So Kurt just pulled up a photo. I thought it was a video. I'm glad it's just a photo.
Yeah, I know.
It's of the debate we've had. Patrick Stefan with the puck, getting ready to put it in the empty net
against the Oilers.
And of course, against the Oilers, and he misses it. So it's got Anaheim Ducks over Patrick Stefan and Adam Fantilli for the empty net, which he missed. That is incredible. Please post that in our Slack channel.
I will. I saw that. I saw that today, and I laughed.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I almost have to wonder because when I saw Leo Carlsson, I'm like, kind of looks like Teemu Selanne.
A little bit.
Do they think they're drafting Teemu Selanne again? I don't know.
Maybe there's a chance that Solanne's his dad.
Right. The guy is super talented, right? And it may wind up being a smart pick for Pat Verbeek, right? He's still early on in his career and definitely has a chance. Are you vaping?
No, it's 10. I'm sorry. I have this problem at work too. I see a pen in front of me and I just have to hold it. And then it ends up going in my mouth, ends up going on the side of my head. I'm terrible. I'm putting it down. I'm not vaping anymore.
All right.
I can't believe. Yeah, I'm vaping in the middle of the goddamn show, Bill. Come on.
I was wondering where we were. That's all.
So the Blues made all three of their picks in the first round of the 2023 draft. First, they selected, I love what Stephen Ground of Two Guys, One Cup calls him Dollar Bill Dvorsky. But I believe it's Dalibor Dvorsky. Otto Stenberg at number 25, and then Theo Lindstein, or is it Lindstein, at number 29. I'll run through a couple of these very quickly. Dvorsky, he's a center. He's 6'1", 201 pounds. Played for Sweden's AIK. He was ranked number 3 among European skaters. 13 points in 7 games for Slovakia at the under-18 IHF World Championships. From our friend of the show, these quotes that are coming, they come from friend of the show, Mike Morial of NHL.com. He says, Dvorsky has the size and skill to play in the middle, but also could find a home on the wing. Wherever he ends up, the Blues will be happy to have him. Dvorsky is a high IQ player with a really good shot that he doesn't need much room to get it off. I will say, again, listen to that episode if you're interested in hearing more about Dvorsky. We had Morial on about a month ago, and he gave great insight. Basically even said, there's no way he drops to the Blues. If he does, the Blues better take him. And yeah, lo and behold, here we go. That's all I kept hearing from draft experts is, no way this kid makes it to 9 or 10. He did. Blues made the pick. From what I understand, excellent pick for the Blues.
The Hockey News had him ranked at number 6 overall. So pretty good.
So then the Blues took Otto Stenberg at number 25, center, 5'11", 180 pounds for Sweden's Frölunda, captain for Team Sweden at the under-18s. Some scouts say his game mirror Alexander Steen, who we will talk about in a little bit. Again, from Mike Morial of NHL.com. Stenberg has leadership qualities and a tremendous two-way game, an offensively gifted player with quick hands and an accurate shot. Stenberg is a complete player with a strong work ethic and the ability to come up big in clutch situations. He's also versatile enough to play wing or center. So Blues take 2 centers here. And I know I saw people after number 25 saying, why no defense? Blues drafted best available here. And from what I saw, actual draft experts said these were the 2 great first picks for the Blues.
Central Scouting had him ranked number 6th in international skaters. So
not bad.
Not pretty good.
Pretty good. And then Theo Lindstein is what I'm going to say. I hope I'm not butchering that. He is a defenseman at 6'1", 185 pounds, played for Sweden's Brynäs. He compares his game to Miro Heiskanen. And apparently all 3 of these guys are friends and have played at tournaments together. I told you guys before the show, one of my favorite quotes from the draft came from the Blues 25th pick in Otto Stenberg. So he was up on the podium being interviewed when Lindstein was picked. And he basically, they said something like, the guy interviewing was like, oh, so you got Dvorsky, you, and then the Blues just picked your friend Theo Lindstein. And he goes, oh, the Blues took Lindstein? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, oh, that's great. Like, we're good friends. He's one of my best friends. And he's kind of going off, and he starts talking about how they played at, like, the World Championships and other teams together. And his quote was, we slept together for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I instantly was reminded of the Vladimir Tarasenko, what's a rub-off means.
We talked about that before the show, and then I had seen that there was video of Dvorsky backstage walking by a TV, and someone, I think, pointed out to him who the Blues were drafting, and it was Stenberg, and I think it was Stenberg, and he was like, he was stoked that Stenberg was being drafted by the Blues. He was like, "That is awesome. That is really, really cool." You could just tell he was so excited that he's a good friend of Otto. He goes, "I know Otto very well. He's a good friend of his." So that's pretty cool. And also Lindstein, but Central Scouting ranked him number 14th overall from in international skaters.
Yep. And so from what I saw with these first 3 picks, we'll kind of breeze through the rest of the picks here too. But I love the Dvorsky pick. Again, I'm not a draft expert, but from everything I saw from the people that I trust, which I have a very, very small contingent of people that consider themselves draft experts that I actually trust, one of them being Mike Morial of NHL.com, the Dvorsky pick was lights out, the right pick. Like, absolutely no question. They made the best player available a St. Louis Blue.
They were pretty high. I think it was the panel. One of the panels it was really high on the Blues' first round picks, all 3 of them. And who was it online? It's part of Jay Fresh's site, and he was like ripping the Blues picks. He said, I think it was Stenberg or Lindstein, one of the two. He said he had him ranked at 304th overall.
Lindstein. It was Lindstein.
Was it Lindstein? Had him ranked at 304. That was 300 something. And he was like, I don't understand this pick.
So he ranks him by potential to be a star,
yes,
and potential to be
an
NHL player.
Yes.
And he showed the metrics that he used. It was like a 15 game sample size.
Yeah. And it was mostly offensive production. It was like offensive
Yeah.
production, small sample size. And the sample size was him playing against much older people. You saw it was weird.
I saw, and so that same guy, he had Connor Bedard as number 2.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah, he had Adam Fantilli as number 1 and Connor Bedard as number 2. So the fact that he is and listen, he may be right. In 10 years, we might look back and say Adam Fantilli should have been the number 1 pick. But every single other person I have seen ever says there is no question Connor Bedard is a generational talent.
Yeah.
With Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
So when I'm seeing that from everyone else and I see one guy say, Connor Bedard's the second best player in this draft, I'm sorry, I'm not going to trust your judgment.
Yeah.
In 10 years, I might change my tune. But right now, absolutely not.
He was pretty off the board with a number of picks, actually. I think 10 players that were picked in the first round or something like that, he had picked like in the hundreds or something. It was, he was way off the board from everyone else.
To me, it kind of feels like that the movie Dogma, when they're talking about great movies and Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, they're archangel characters, and Affleck's given Damon grief for picking, I can't even remember the name of the movie, over E.T. And he said, time will tell, my friend. Time will tell.
Yep.
And you know what? 5 years from now, no one's going to even pull up his stuff. 6 years, it's going to be lost. I think it's one of those things where he's, he gets like the hot take now that gets a lot of attention, but in 5, 6, 7 years, whenever it's bogus, or even if it's if it comes true, no one's gonna pull that up. I mean,
except him.
Except him.
Right. Oh, if he's right, yeah, he'll be all
if he's
over.
right, yeah, but if he's wrong, no one's gonna remember to do that.
So enemy of the show, Gabe Foley, who we've already mentioned, somebody did pull up his commentary on Jimmy Snuggerud when the Blues picked him, and he said it was one of the worst picks of the first round.
I saw that.
And it's like, again, he might still be right. We'll see.
Yeah. Well,
but from everything we've heard since then, he's the hit.
Yes.
So we'll see.
Yeah. What did he? He also said. No, I lost it. He said something about one of the Armstrong's trades being the worst ever. I forgot what it was.
Oh, I can't remember what it was.
Oh. think it was a Scandella trade. It was like right when he made it, it was like, this is one of the worst moves Armstrong's ever made. And I was like, really? I mean, that's saying something, because there's been a few really bad moves.
He's had
really
some
bad
really
moves.
bad ones.
I mean, he's had some major hits too, but it's like, to say it's the worst movie he's ever made, come on. That's not true. That's not true at all.
Austin, I was going to invite Austin in. He's here, but man, what did he name himself there? What are you doing, man?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What is it? You got to change that. What is wrong with you?
It's a family show.
It is a family show. We can't show that. All right.
I don't want to look at it.
Yeah. I'm blocking it. I can't even see it.
There's a guy, race fan, rocks 4.
Big Eric Brewer fan.
At least it's not the same guy who had McDavid 5th in the Hart Trophy voting. Yeah, that was. Yeah, one guy voted him 5th in the Hart Trophy voting. One guy.
Look who's here, folks.
What's
Austin
up?
Lynch has joined the show.
What's up?
Hey,
What's
buddy.
up?
Oh, you know.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. All right. All right. So later round picks for the Blues.
We need a door slamming sound for that.
Right. Yeah. Get the fuck out. In the third round, number 74, the Blues took defenseman Quentin Burns. Round 3 also, so 2 picks later via the Ottawa trade. Where did that come from? I don't remember. They took. I'm going to butcher some of these names.
Fuck if I can find it. I don't know.
fuck if I. Christ, I can't find it.
I can't find it.
The hell of it.
You can't say goddamn on the air.
I can't.
Who cares?
Anyway.
Nobody's listening. We're quoting a great movie.
That's
I
all we
quoted that a
had.
couple
One
weeks
hit.
ago.
That's all we had. One goddamn hit.
One goddamn
I
hit.
can't say goddamn on the air.
Now he's doing that little shimmy. All the women here in Cleveland hate it. Makes him puke. All right, round 3, 76th overall. Juraj Pekarchik, left wing. And then fourth round, number 106. They took center Jakob Stancil. 5th round, number 138. They took defenseman Paul Fisher.
Thank God.
Yeah,
name
right.
you can say.
Yeah, thank you for that. But now we're getting right back into the shit. Round 6, number 170, they took defenseman Matt Majich. And in the 7th round, number 202, they took right winger Nikita Sasuyev, which I believe is he not the one that was he played with Dvorsky, correct?
No, that was Stancil.
Stancil played with Dvorsky.
Wait, no. The one you couldn't pronounce, Pekarchik.
Oh, it was Pekarchik.
Yeah.
Pekarchik.
Pekarchik.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Damn near killed her.
All right. So yeah, that one particularly. So he was the one that was 3rd round, number 76. 6'1", 183-pound winger, recorded 10 points in 7 games alongside Dvorsky for Team Slovakia at the under 18 World Championship. But they also took too many left-handed D. God damn it.
Yeah. And because of that, this season is ruined.
Yep. I mean, the fact that you are going to have 6 18-year-old defensemen, that's not the problem on this team for the Blues this year. The problem is that they're all left-handed.
Yeah.
Because that's apparently how some people think. Talk about you, Gabe Foley.
Sometimes you got 2 lefties and 2 righties on the same pairing. Sometimes.
That's
Yeah,
fucking crazy.
It happens.
Why would you do that?
Because skill trumps handedness sometimes.
I don't agree with you. Anyway, any overall thoughts that you guys want to get to with the draft before we move on?
I'd like to thank David Poyle for his 4,000 years of service, and congratulate the Vegas Golden Knights on winning the Stanley Cup.
And also want to thank all the people at Tootsie's for their hospitality here in Nashville.
It's been funny. I mean, I guess I wouldn't have because I've just been labeled a big asshole. But to go up there and say I'd like to congratulate David Poyle on pulling the wool over owners' eyes for the past how many years it was a GM in Nashville, 24, 26, what was it? So
wherever they came in the league,
26, I think they came in 97, right? So it was like 26 years. 26 years. I think I shared with you the first. I was looking at his results. And I'm like, they were terrible. They were a bad team for a long time. Granted, expansion, whatever, but like 10 years. He'd been there 10 years and had never won a playoff round. I think they went to playoffs twice. Never won a playoff round. And then in the 11th year they missed the playoffs entirely. I mean, and finished last. How is he not fired after 11 seasons and you're dead last?
If you were a GM, would you have gone on there and said, "I'd like to congratulate David Poyle on 26 years of mediocrity here in Nashville"?
Yeah. And it was like Poyle and Trotz were that franchise for 15 years, however long Trotz was there. I was like, God, he didn't win anything. I'm like, what are you guys doing over there? I mean, what happened to giving a coach 3 or 4 or 5 years, and then if they don't win, move on to somebody else? They didn't do that at all.
I remember like 15 years in and reading Predators fans saying, "Are we ever going to fucking fire this idiot GM?" Like, I think they came around a little bit more towards the end of his tenure because they knew what was coming. But I remember talking to Predators fans and being like, "Why do we keep holding on to this guy? What the fuck are we doing?"
I remember saying that a long time ago, back when Trotz was still there. I was like, "What is going on?" They don't. I mean, they went to the final one time. Not under Trotz, it was under Poyle, but that one time, and I think they only made it out of the second round twice, or made it, out of the second round twice, something like that. And I was like, golly, in 24 years, yikes! I mean,
well, they made the Stanley Cup final that 1 year,
right,
and that was it. That's the most success they've had.
I mean, how many coaches did the Blues go through when they were going to the playoffs, but they weren't winning anything?
How about in that time frame? Because they had a couple years where they didn't make the playoffs, but how many coaches did they go through since the time the Predators have been here? There's a good trivia question.
I could pull it up real quick here, actually.
And the Blues had way more success in the playoffs than the Predators did in that time.
Yeah. I was so pissed too when Nashville went to the final. I'm like, if they fucking win a cup before we do, after all that shit that they were terrible, and oh my God.
Because
they didn't.
That was 2016, right? That was when we lost to San Jose, and then they beat San Jose in the conference final, and lost to Pittsburgh in the cup.
So when did Laviolette take over for? Was it 2000?
Oh, what
13,
the hell?
14?
What just happened? Austin just came on screen and disappeared.
Did you hit a button?
No, I didn't hit anything, and now he's like totally off screen, so I couldn't even see him.
Was it 2014? He came on board 13. Laviolette.
I don't know,
because they went to the final in like, what was it, 16?
It was 16.
Okay,
I don't.
So that was like Laviolette's second year, third year, whatever. Okay,
I don't think Trotz was there.
Okay.
Trotz had already left.
I know he left
Washington.
He had left like 2 years prior. So 97. Okay, so Wade Quenneville then. So that hurts us. So I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We had 6 head coaches during Trotz's tenure in Nashville.
That's crazy.
So
all right, let's move on. We're running along here.
Yes.
Alexander Steen has rejoined the Blues as a member of the hockey ops staff. And just a reminder to our Let's Go Blues radio audience, Alexander Steen did not make the Blues all-time team for us, which is fucking insane. So we'll see if he makes it as a reserve. But just wanted to add that. Hired as a European player development consultant, he'll be in town for the team's prospect camp, which runs from July 1st to the 4th at Centene Community Ice Center. So make sure you check that out this weekend if you are in town. Steen will work to develop the Blues' European prospects while also returning to St. Louis to assist with the team's development camps. I could see this parlaying into a possible assistant coaching job eventually. He seems like the type that the Blues want to keep around. So I could see that possibly happening, depending on if he wants to stay in North America or not.
Yeah, I agree.
The Blues have also released their 2023-24 season schedule. They're going to open the season on Thursday, October 12th in Dallas. Home opener will be Saturday, October 14th against Seattle. Blues face off against Central teams 26 times during the season. 4 matchups against the Chicago Blackhawks, Colorado Avalanche, Minnesota Wild, Arizona Coyotes, Dallas Stars, and then only 3 matchups against the Nashville Predators and Winnipeg Jets. I'm glad they did this because that means we'll get to see the San Jose Sharks and Anaheim Ducks and who's another team we don't fucking care about seeing more?
Calgary.
Calgary Flames. I mean, let's take away from our Central Division matchups
Vancouver.
so we can see more teams that we don't give a shit about.
No. Vancouver.
Yeah,
Drive me crazy. Take away from Central. Take away from anywhere else in the NHL.
We should be playing each Central Division team 6 times.
Yeah.
Yep.
We should.
If it means
stupid.
even that some Eastern teams aren't coming here at all that season, I'm okay with it. As long as you rotate it and say, let's say the Islanders, Rangers, Penguins, and Flyers don't come here this season, but they'll come here next year. Like, why can't they do that?
We've said this.
Give me more Central matchups
100 times. If you're going to have divisional playoffs, you need more divisional games during the season to get a more accurate seeding in the division.
It is
stupid.
Criminal.
It's stupid.
Criminal that they're playing the Nashville Predators 3 times. 3 times.
I know.
They're driving distance.
I didn't look. Is there a weekend game in Nashville? Let me guess. There's only one game in Nashville.
Yeah.
There is one weekend game. It is a Saturday in
Really?
April, I believe, and it's a 7 p.m. game.
Ooh. No. You know what though? That Saturday 1 o'clock game or noon game, whatever time it was that we went to, it was a Saturday. Bill, that was great because the game was in the afternoon. And then I got out with we were done at like 4 or 5 o'clock, and then we had the entire evening on the strip.
Right, we could all go get COVID.
Right, that's right. But
we
had a 7 o'clock
thing.
game be fine too, I guess.
We had a similar thing. It was about 10 years ago. I went with some buddies, and that was incredible. We got out on the strip at like 4 or 5 o'clock, and we were like, "All right, let's take it easy for a little bit. We'll go get some dinner, then we'll go back out." No, we just partied all day and all night. It was a great time.
It is fun though to day drink and get drunk and then go to a game, right, Bill?
Oh yeah,
yes.
Like in Columbus,
Yes. Oh, the World Cup of Hockey, baby.
That was so much. Yeah, we got drunk before the game at a bar across the street, and we went to the game, and oh my god,
yeah,
that sounds amazing.
Stories.
It was fun.
So actually, Austin was incorrect. Our one Saturday game against Nashville is a home game, 4 p.m. On February 17th.
And
Austin is shaking his head.
We don't. So our game in Nashville is not a Saturday.
No, it is not. Let's see. So we play them. Wait, how was that? Friday, January 24th at 2 p.m. How can that possibly
Friday?
Be on a Friday?
Oh wait, no. That's the day. Sorry, this is November. I was wrong. So it's the day after Thanksgiving. So 2 p.m. game, day after Thanksgiving.
What?
Bourbon County Friday.
Oh, Black Friday.
Yes.
In Nashville.
That'll be cool, but
No,
one
that's a home
time they're
game.
playing in Nashville is the day after Thanksgiving?
No, that's a home game.
What's the home?
So
What's the
we
Nashville
play-
game?
Okay.
I'm trying to
Austin
find.
says
We play
Austin says April 4th.
It's a Thursday night, 7 p.m.
Thursday.
Austin. It's a Thursday.
Yeah, it's a Thursday.
That
Idiot.
sucks.
God, you're fired. Strike 17, Austin.
Thursday.
No, shit happens, but no, that's fuck.
Who's gonna go out and party after a Thursday night game? Although you get hotels will be cheaper on a Thursday.
Yeah,
Wednesday night, Thursday night.
I could take off work.
Maybe take off Thursday and Friday.
Head down there Thursday morning.
Might be better when it's not as crowded down there. I don't think.
All right, we'll think about it because I'm interested too. I told the wife this year we are going out of town for a Blues game. So
we talked about it last year, and we were Amy and I were all gung ho. We were ready to go, and then
Bill and I bailed.
You guys bailed, and we're like, oh, okay, we won't go. And actually, we waited too long to get hotels, and they were like really expensive. Actually, they were expensive from the get go. There was something else going on that weekend. It was expensive, much more expensive than before, to get a hotel there for some reason.
So how about December 9th, we go to Chicago?
Oh.
Is that a Saturday?
Saturday game.
December 9th. I miss the day after Christmas games against Chicago. It was every year.
My dad took me every single year to that game. That was his present to me. It would always be in my stocking every year.
That was great.
They don't even play the day after Christmas anymore.
Nope.
Nobody does.
No,
the whole NHL's
it's
off.
Contractual.
Austin says we play December 23rd.
Right.
What day of the week is that?
Ooh.
It is a Saturday.
Well, that's that does kind of bleed into my point here. So Blues have a 3-game homestand during the holidays. Games against Chicago on the 23rd, Dallas on the 27th, and Colorado on the 29th. So that's a nice little homestand there. Be nice to see Blues get a couple points out of that homestand.
Yeah, because they go right to Pittsburgh after back-to-back games after that Colorado game.
I think if the game is in Chicago, I'd rather choose December 9th, just because I would not want to do that close to to Christmas. There's too much stuff going on.
That is a major possibility. If you guys are interested, I can
December
9th.
What are tickets going to be this year with Bedard though? That'd be expensive.
Yeah, it will be expensive, but by that time maybe the craze has died down a little bit. So
about
that is the one summer thing I did this year was my first trip to United Center, and it was not for a Blues Blackhawks game, but for a Cure concert. It was a great show.
I bet that was amazing.
I was there. I was at the United Center 23, 24 years ago, 25 years ago, probably, for a game. New Year's Eve game. It sucked. The Hawks were terrible, and the Islanders were terrible, and they both played, and it was a 1-0 Hawks win. It sucked.
Jocelyn Thibault with the shutout.
Yeah, the Tyler Arneson era.
It might have been a Thibault shutout.
Yeah, I used to love Jocelyn Thibault. I don't know why. I think I just liked his name. Thibault.
No,
Thibault.
Right behind me, in my case, I actually have the Jocelyn Thibault Chicago Blackhawks McFarland with the water bottle.
Oh, nice. Very
Nice.
cool.
So,
Very cool.
But
All right. Other notes on the Blues schedule. Stanley Cup champion Vegas visits St. Louis on December 6th and March 25th. For the second straight season, the Blues end the season in Dallas, April 17th at 8:30. So they're getting the playoff, the playoff treatment already with their last game of the season.
Yeah. Well, a trip to Vegas too. That's an option to watch a game.
So actually, I will be in Vegas at the end of September. They have their first preseason game the week that I'm there, and I've already informed the crew that we're going for a bachelor party. I've already informed them that I don't care what tickets are, I'm going because I want to see the arena. But I am afraid with them winning the cup and that being their first game after their cup win, preseason might be expensive.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
We'll see.
Hopefully not.
Free agency starts July 1st?
Yeah,
Saturday. So
I don't think I'll be available for a show over the weekend, but depending on if there's any weird, massive craziness, maybe we do a show Monday or Tuesday, but I would assume we're going to do a show Wednesday.
Yeah, I'll be out of town until Monday evening.
Won't do it Tuesday because of 4th of July. That's a good call.
So maybe late Monday. I don't know.
Maybe. We'll see.
We'll play it by ear.
Yeah, I'm busy Saturday. I'm playing hockey Sunday, but man, if something gets crazy, I would skip hockey to do a show. But I would say plan on us doing a show Wednesday. And the Blues don't do anything, to be honest, we may not even have a live show. We may just, do one of our usual things or do a Blues reveal show. We'll see. Play it by ear. Doug, make us have a live show. That's what I'll say.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. Go get Connor McDavid or something. Go do something cool.
Yeah, like it's that easy. Just do it.
Yeah, it is.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Just trade a defenseman, right? That's what we
trade all of
just
your left-handed defensemen.
Every one of them.
He knows that's Ken Holland's weakness.
This is not how you draft.
Idiot. All right. Anything else? Any closing thoughts before we close up here, boys?
No.
That was definitive.
I mean, based on what we're reading about the guys the Blues drafted, every player has some nice things in their write-up, right? So, but it's encouraging to see what some of these guys are capable of possibly doing. So, I'm really curious to fast forward a few years and see what these guys can maybe do.
Yep. Yeah, me too. Every expert I've seen, said the Blues had a very good. I don't know much about. I haven't seen much on the later rounds, but the first round, Blues apparently knocked it out of the park.
I almost don't even care about what anybody says about rounds 4, 5, 6, 7. I do not care because it's a crapshoot. People.
We are not the late '90s, early 2000 Red Wings where we know we're going to get Pavel Datsyuk or Henrik Zetterberg, right?
If they knew they were going to get those players and how good they were, they'd have drafted them sooner.
I'll admit, I was listening to the
if they because they said they knew they were that good. I've heard the interview, and I'm like, what? Or I read the interview. I'm like, if you guys knew they were as good as they actually were, you guys knew they were. You probably found somebody that was better than what other teams thought they were, but you didn't know they were that good because if you did, you'd have drafted them a lot sooner. You wouldn't have let them sit there for 7 rounds.
You might have known there's a better chance than the scouts are giving them, like the central scouting. That they're going to make the NHL.
They may have loved them.
Not that they're going to be potential Hall of Famers.
I'm not doubting they loved them, but I don't think they knew they were going to be that good.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, but no, I'm happy with so far. I think the offseason has gone well. I'll admit, I was wanting the Blues to trade one of those 3 picks.
I'm shocked.
I'm shocked they didn't. I'm with you. I thought, move one of those out with one of the larger contracts. Get somebody in return that's either a prospect or going to help you now. That didn't happen, but I'll say, reading what I've read about these 3 picks, nobody is like that, except for that one idiot. That was a huge reach. I haven't read anything like that. They got a defenseman, which everybody said, from what I saw, again, the people that I trust, that they said, well, we thought he might have gone second round, but it's not a big deal that he went late first round. I mean, you think about it.
Well, the Blues didn't have a second round pick either. So
exactly. And he went 29th. That's only 3 picks away from being in the second round. So, it's like when people say, I remember when Klim Kostin was picked and somebody was like, I wouldn't have taken him until the second round. And it's like, he was the last pick of the first round. Come on. So anyway, I loved it. I loved the Hayes trade. So far, so good for the Blues. Pick your heads up, Blues fans. I think so far the offseason has gone very well.
Yeah, I just it is a little worrisome that nothing has been done with the defense yet. So I mean, there's a lot of time. There's free agency that's going to start and everything. So we'll see what happens. But a little discouraging that something was tried to have been done with the defense, but didn't work out. So I don't know. He's trying. We'll see. I mean,
I'll say I think it was our friend Dan Riley, but I could be wrong. Might have been Kyle Foxton. But those 2 guys I do follow a lot on Twitter because They're funny, and they also offer great insight. I did see somebody say, don't overreact of the moves now. Once October hits, then you grade the offseason.
That's exactly what that's what I always say too. I'm like,
I think that's the way to go.
People like right now saying, predicting, a point total for the Blues. I'm like, how? Why? You don't know what moves are going to be made. You have no idea what this team's going to look like exactly in October. Let's wait until training camp starts and see how that goes, and see who's on the roster and who the Blues acquire, if anybody. A couple of moves could make a big difference in people's opinions. So I don't know why people are like digging in on how this team's going to be next season when you don't really, no one knows yet.
Yep. Well, all right, folks. I think we are at the end of the show here. Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by the way, Austin, I want to let you know I will handle closing. I've already got everything ready, so don't do anything. Support is brought to you in part by ID Life, the world's only truly personalized vitamin platform based on the health assessment of your DNA. Visit rockinthatidlife.com for more information. That's rockinthatidlife.com and get 10% off by emailing Dustin at rockinthatidlife@gmail.com and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. And by Mike Burgoyne from Real Brokerage Realty. Visit strikewithmike.com today for all your home buying and selling needs. That's strikewithmike.com. And by Center Ice Brewery, St. Louis's tasty hockey-themed beer. Check out your local beer vendors for availability. That's Center Ice Brewery beer. Please drink responsibly. That will wrap up episode 10 of season 12 of the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening. Thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the show. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. For Kurt Price and Bill Day, as well as producer Austin, I'm Jeff Ponder, and this was Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Let's go left-handed defenseman.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.
You thought I was going to say, son of a bitch, didn't you?